Good evening, guys. And I have Gil Grayman prepping here as well. Good to see you.
Good to be here. There we go.
Yeah. Hey, Grumpy old guy. Good to see you. And Shannon Barrett, good to see you too.
Oh, and I just had an ad pop up here. 2 ads.
Well, that's good.
So you're going to get 2 pennies. 1 penny for each ad.
Yeah. Let's see. I didn't miss anyone. No. Shannon and Grumpy is here. So we wait a couple of more minutes and let's see if there is someone else who want to put some comments. We have 7 in the house, so
that means we have several lurkers. Lurking is fine, but at least say hi.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Sandy, good to see you. Good to see you. And we have also Lisa Jepson here. Good to see you too. Well, 8 in the house. That's good. Yep. This early in the stream. Mm-hmm. So, how are you guys doing? We have a CR in the house too. Good evening, brother. How are you doing? I hope you had a great week.
Hey, CR, is the snow melting up there yet?
And CR listening.
Yeah, the snow's off the front side of my house, but it's slowly coming off the backside, but I still got a fair amount on the backside, which is the north side of the house. So
yeah, that's good.
But all that snow from storm we had on my metal patio roof is sliding off, making a big bank on the downside there. Grandkids, can we play in it? Can we play in it? No, because you start playing it, some more will fall off right on top of you.
Yeah, exactly. We have 12 in the house now.
Cool.
10. So PV will probably pop in soon.
All right.
He usually do.
And remind everybody out there, hydrate. Hydrate.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Even if it's winter, you still need to hydrate.
Indeed. It's harder to know if you get dehydrated down in winter time.
Yeah.
Just arrived as you said it. Yeah, just in time. You know the drill, PV. The link is pinned in the top of the chat if you want to join us, and I know you want to. And by the way, this topic for today is home invasion, security, and self-defense. And it was Preparedness Veterans' idea for this topic. Hey, Joseph Moore, good to see you, brother. Spring has arrived in South Sweden. Yeah.
I think I've caught up saying hi to everybody.
Yeah. That can take some time.
Especially if you don't keep up on it. Exactly. This topic is going to be, like I mentioned to you, John, earlier, is going to be a double-edged sword for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a very emotional.
Good to see you.
Very emotional.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Hey, Teresa Buchanan, good to see you, ma'am.
Well, since as though I suggested the topic, I thought I'd come up here and have a couple of words. So, how you doing, Gil? All right?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
being a little frustrated out on my shop project. I was going along great, and it's like, oh, crap, I got to rewire this set of lights over here now.
Yeah, it'll only take half an hour.
Yeah.
It's a lot longer. These little projects turn into a lot longer than you normally think.
Yeah. But it's actually redoing the lights like I am. It's going to make it a lot easier and safer for lighting in my shop. So,
hey, Guardian
Right.
Fitness, good to see you, brother.
Hey, Guardian.
Well, as you said, Gil, today's topic, home invasion, security, and self-defense, is a double-edged sword. You can begin with that, Gil.
well, for those that don't know, after I got out of high school, I went to college, and my second semester, I went to work for the College District Police Services. Then I worked for the Sheriff's Department. Then I went into the private security, working at Bank of America's data centers, and then at Chevron Texaco's corporate headquarters. And then a buddy of mine recruited me to help set up Homeland Security in 2002. So, yeah, I've been, everything from, local to high. I've done a lot of work with different police departments and stuff. And this is one, depending on your location, your country, there's all sorts of laws and rules you got to look into yourself. So everything we're going to give you today is going to be, that's what I'm looking for, an overview, non-legalistic information, but you all need to do your own research locally on anything we tell you, see if your local laws apply, which way or the other way. Okay, so hopefully everybody gets that. That's the disclaimer here today, is that this is one that can you can think you're in the right if you haven't done your research, and next thing you know, you're the one in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely.
Yeah.
You need to do exactly, make the correct decision so you don't get any trouble.
Yeah.
Or get in.
Even police officers think, they get all the law enforcement bulletins and stuff out here in America. They get all the updates, and even they can get in trouble because you get a prosecutor who interprets the law differently, and they got to cause all sorts of headaches. Even if they, in the end, are get exonerated and you did everything right, but all that process can cause all sorts of headaches. Yeah. So, hey, yeah, Holly. So I got a couple people coming in on my side there. So,
yeah, I figured.
But yeah, I would say so. If when it comes to home invasion security, your best plan of action is a passive defense and gray man approach. You make your house look like it's not, make it so it's not a target, but also make it harder for anybody to get into. And if they don't get in, that there on its own saves you a whole bunch of headaches.
I agree.
Yeah. You got to have it's such a big area. I mean, it's 3 or 4 areas there. You got the home invasion aspects of it, burglary aspects of it, self-defense aspects of it. Absolutely huge. Like you say, the law, people have got to know the law, not necessarily inside out, but they got to know their boundaries. And, it all comes down to if people think it's a bit of a grey area, it's got to remember proportionality is key. Don't overdo it. You catch someone breaking into your own home, don't start going over the top, because you'll become the assailant, and it'll be you in the spotlight as opposed to the burglar who's entered into your sort of quote unquote castle, if you like.
Yeah. And that's the thing is right now. So we got 3 people from 3 different countries here on the panel. And I think I have the hardest time here of all of us, because here in America, we got 50 different states, and each state has their own laws and regulations regarding stand your ground, castle doctrine, run away. You know, some states say you have to run away. Others say, no, you can stand your ground. Others have castle doctrine, and other ones have ones where you see someone else being assailant, it's your right to go to protect that other person as well.
Adios.
Hey, Dios.
Oh,
Hey, Doris. So, you know, yeah, here in the land of the free and the home of the brave, we really have a lot of shackles here when it comes to home defense here, what you can and can't do depending on where you live.
I think universally, there's a universal rule that is everybody's got a right to defend themselves. It's just how and what ability you've got to defend yourselves, which differs. I mean, from in UK here, anyone can defend themselves if their life or property is under threat, but it's got to be proportional, and you can use anything
To what the attacker doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't, for instance, and people have fallen foul of this in the past in Britain. They've chased after the robber and so on, and then hurt him, and that's classed as over use of force, and they become the person for prosecution then. But that's at that point you've failed, or you've missed out a couple of boundaries, if you like. If you've actually are in the point where you've confronting someone who's got into your house, then you've probably missed out a couple of fronts to begin with. You've got to deter people to begin with, set up detection systems, keep them out, and then you literally, you as a confrontation is your last line of defense. So there's 3 or 4 plus other steps beforehand. Deterrence is the first sort of biggest key and boundary of defense, if you like. Because if you can deter people straight away and they go somewhere else, fine, that's their problem. And you can do this in various ways.
I like that one comment, the grumpy old guy comment.
Which one's that?
The "I was in fear for my life" comment.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And as long as you can justify it, and we're talking in sort of quote unquote peacetime here. If it becomes complete all out SHTF, there's no means of going back, then it's a slightly different circumstance, but the law or other factors will eventually catch up with you. So I mean, the law side of it is, like Gil said, it's difficult because there's so many different, we're trying to cover half the world here, but if we concentrate on the things that you can do before the confrontation, that'll be a sort of the key start thing, I think. And this is something that everyone can do.
With what you said earlier about chasing them down, I mean, you can get in trouble even here in the U.S. for doing that as well.
Yeah. I mean,
it all depends on the state you live in, but some states will be a little bit more lenient, and some they're going to be strict as all get out. They're going to, the perpetrator of the crime is always going to be viewed as the victim, whereas the home defender will be looked at as the aggressor.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, there are several states that even have, you cannot defend yourself. You cannot stand your ground until you try to run away first.
Yeah, Connecticut being one of them. You got to barricade yourself in a room or some BS like that.
Yeah, you got to try to get away, and only when you are cornered can you defend yourself. Which is a totally...
it's backwards thinking.
That creates a whole new problem.
Yeah.
It's when we need a lawyer,
going back to the beginning, like TV said, is you start. You got to take care of your first, see if you can stop them. And like I said, also you need to make your home look unattractive to a burglar, home invader, whatever, an assailant. You got to make it look like, okay, that's not that's not worth it. Doesn't look like there's anything in there. That's going to be too hard to get into. You got to change their mindset before they come into your house. You don't want them even to try to try your locks and stuff.
No, I disagree. I say make your house look like an attractive nuisance and go ahead and booby trap it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Unfortunately, start putting out booby traps in a lot of states here in America. That's called premeditation, and then they'll go after you for that. The courts will. One of the things, do we start with lights and alarms? Motion sensor lights are good. Alarms can be good, especially automated ones that will, when a window or something gets jostled or whatever, it'll do an automatic call to law enforcement. Of your front door, the looks of your front door is one of the things that can turn them off to wanting to come in really quick. If you have a flimsy looking front door, and especially you have some of the decorative ones we have in the U.S. where you got the big doorway here, you got a couple of glass panels on each side, and you have the door in the middle. That's a weak door, and because they can break the glass, reach around and unlock it. You don't want to have glass in the door where they can break it and unlock it. And if they can see the door is a steel door, even though it's a decorative steel door, if they see it's a steel door and they go, oh crud, I ain't gonna be able to kick that in. And there's, everything looks beefy, and they're gonna go like, and they go up and they just try a little bit and they feel it's solid. That alone can deter a lot of would-be bad guys away from your home.
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance as always, because if you want to start putting lights, timer switches, and all sorts of overt systems around your house, it's going to indicate to people that you've got something to hide potentially as well. Mm-hmm. And also, some of these things aren't cheap. So if someone has spent what appears to be hundreds of pounds or dollars fortifying and putting lights up all around their house, you've also projected the fact that you can spend all this money on that sort of thing, and therefore you've got something worth protecting inside as well. So it's a bit of a balance. So I'd say make it conducive to the area you live in, and if you want to go above and beyond what your neighbours have got, then sort of make it a bit more overt as well. And there's various sort of things you could do. You can buy all sorts of, for instance, you can buy a bird box, for instance, which has got a camera in it, all this sort of covert stuff, infrared, driveway beams that alert you inside the house, stuff like this. You can hide them away somewhere. But yeah, the deterrence factor is, I think, one of the first key things you could do: lights, cameras, timer switches, so that it comes on if you're away and stuff like this. It puts a doubt in the intruder's mind as to, is there someone in there? Yeah. And that, the more doubt you can project, the better, and it all adds up to your sort of an like image of being there.
Yeah, and like someone said in the side chat, a big dog. Well, you can also have those motion sensors activate a recording of a big dog in the house. They have a speaker, all of a sudden they hear inside the house, and it's like, okay, I don't want to go in that house.
Dogs are I'd agree. Dogs are a very good deterrent and a good companion and defense tool as well. But people have got to consider another factor against having a dog, and that is if someone's scoping the house out and you've got signs up saying, I live in this house, and it's a picture of a dog, or you got some sort of dog warning sign up, then it can also indicate to any intruder that the fact that, well, if a dog can move around inside the house, that means there's potentially no motion detectors inside the house, so that once you're in, you've got free time to roam around without any sort of motion detectors going off inside. Because if a dog can move around, you can move around, and so on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would bit of a sideline there, but I think dogs are definitely a good warning signal, and noisemakers are a good key thing to have as well, because the earlier you can produce a noise, either internally to warn you or externally to let someone else know that they're there, the better.
Yeah, I was thinking about something else. A timer that controls the lights in your house. So you set the timer on a certain time when the lights are going on, and when they are going to turn off.
We've
That
used
is
those
another
before.
good thing, in my opinion.
We've used those before.
Yeah.
I was
Shawnee
gonna go
put
back
up
to
a
the
good.
dog thing. Back to the dog thing, real quick. The sign. I also want to be careful with the signage on the.
Hey,
Beware
Howie,
of
good to see you,
dogs.
brother.
Like, for instance, if you got a sign that says "Beware of dog," and let's just say this isn't even this isn't necessarily home defense related, but your dog bites or attacks somebody, that could be used against you in a court of law, because the courts could view that as, well, you knew you had a vicious animal on their property. You know what I mean? It's just like those firearm signs that people like to buy, warning, this property is protected by Smith and Wesson. You know what I mean? You can still get in trouble for premeditation.
Yeah, the one sign says burglars will be shot, survivors will be shot again. You don't want to put that one up. It may be funny, but you don't want to put it up.
If I miss you, my neighbors will get you. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, if you scroll back up there on the comments there, Joran, Shawnee Shave put one in about kids. When an intruder is in the house, it's just before when Howie came in. But she said hers was when an intruder is, we should have a plan to have the kids run and hide in one place, perhaps. If you're able to, all right, it depends when the intruder comes in. If you don't realize the intruder's in he's in the house, you don't realize he's there until he's already in the house. Rather than having the kids go to one specific place, they should have a place in their individual rooms to hide. Now, if someone's beating on the door, you can have everybody get together and you can go hide in the parents' bedroom or whatever else, and you can barricade that door and call the police. But if the person's already in the house, it might be best for the kids just to crawl under their bed or whatever, or in the closet, cover themselves up with dirty clothes or whatever. So they're not running down the hallway trying to get to that one special place and run into the burglar or invader.
Yeah, I think part of your plan, your defense plan for your house against burglaries, home invasions, or whatever, is to inform everybody about what to do if it happens, and come up with a sort of simple plan of what to do when it does kick off. Whether you're going to just leave the house completely via one exit, multiple exits, or whatever, meet up in the garden or down the street at predetermined meeting points, or if you go to a safe room, or you go to a part of the building which you consider safe, that you can barricade yourselves in there, whatever. But everyone must come up with some sort of plan and discuss it beforehand, just in case. And that could run into multiple scenarios as well, because what you're going to do in the middle of the night, if you're all fragmented and you're all sleeping in different bedrooms, what are you going to do if one of you is at work? What are you going to do if you're out shopping? What are you going to do with the dog, for instance, and all this sort of stuff. And it can get quite messy to think about, but keeping it as simple as possible is the key, because you're going to have a state of confusion, panic, and it will be time critical as well. These things will happen so quick that you may not have time to think. You just have to act in as simplistic way as possible and move to, a really easy part of the house to not even think about what you're doing,
Yeah.
But yeah,
One
a
of the things
predetermined plan.
The one thing on your plan, on the plans and stuff, you need to practice it. And people say, "Oh yeah, you practice it till you get it right." No, you don't practice it till you get it right. You practice it till you don't get it wrong. So it's right every time. And especially with kids and stuff, they oh, I got it right. Yeah, let's get it and do it again and make sure you still got it right. Let's keep going so you make sure you don't do it wrong. And basically that builds up what's called muscle memory for your response. That way you don't freeze like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? It's like, oh, that's it. Okay, I know what to do. I'm gone. I know where to hide.
As soon as you get what you practiced in your muscle memory, it stays there.
Mm-hmm.
People should maybe start off with an evaluation of their own situation.
Mm-hmm.
Think like a burglar. Go outside the house. Take a good long look. You don't have to do it overtly. You could sit in the car looking at your house, and just think to yourself, right, if I was a burglar, how would I get in that place? Or put yourself in a position where you think to yourself, right, I've lost my keys. How do I get in? The easiest option. But one of the most vulnerable points in any house is the windows. You can just smash the window and get in, but it's a noise factor scenario. So it depends on location, where you live. Do you live in, you got close neighbors, or do you live in a remote place? No, this sort of thing. So
security film.
Yeah, exactly. Take time to think like a burglar and do your own sort of penetration testing scenario. Think to yourself, how would I get in without a key? How would I smash my way in? Once in, where would I go first? I mean, the current and look at crime trends as well. The current crime trend here in Britain, for instance, is car theft. So and they're targeting high-end cars, Audis, BMWs, Land Rovers, and so on. But they won't just nick the car, even if it's on the driveway. They'll break into your house to get the keys to nick the car, because they want the undamaged goods, if you see what I mean.
They'll do the same thing here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But mostly, a lot of the cars either end up in chop shops or they end up in a crime.
Yeah. So they'll just they'll smash their way into your house using whatever means, sledgehammers or angle grinders, carve their way in and go straight for the keys and get the car and drive off, and nick it, And then the next thing you know, within an hour, it's in an ISO container. So it's been cut off from GPS trackers and this sort of thing. And police know this sort of thing. And it's only, this week, I mean, I've got a relative in the police, and he told me this last year. And they were telling people to put their keys out of view in the porchway. If you got keys hanging up on the porch, people can look in through glass doors and so on, see there's keys there, and they'll come back and smash their way and grab the keys and go. But it's only been this week, for instance, Canada, certain police force in Canada were put in it was a big news article saying, we can't respond as quick to all these sorts of incidents, so leave your keys. And this is unbelievable. Leave your keys somewhere where they can just take them.
Yeah, no.
I don't know how that will stand up as an insurance sort of claim, but
yeah,
completely
well,
ridiculous.
it's like for my family, I have a key ring for all the keys, for all the cars, but it's always in my pants pocket, and so we never hang keys. We have a lockbox in one of the closets that has a little key caddy in there that's locked, that they're up in there, and that's locked, and the key is hidden up above the door jamb inside. So you have to go back and look up to see where the key is to lock it. But my wife keeps her keys in her jacket pocket, by the bed. Mine are in my pants pocket on the floor by my bed. And so unless they know that they can look all the way, they won't see anything. Now I shared something here, Jordan, if you want to bring that up.
Yeah, sure.
Some things here to help keep people out. Whether you have an apartment or a home, this little blockade thing works great because at night you just drop it in the holes there, and they can kick on the door there, and the bottom of the door is not going to move. And there are some other things you have here, like these bars that just drop in place at night. When you go to bed, you just drop it in there, and they can kick on that door all, for hours. And it's, you're going to have to break each piece of the door away to get in. And they're not going to want to do that. Once they kick the door and that door bounces back at them hard, they're like, holy crud, we're not, this is not a place to get into. And there's a bunch of different types.
And those strike plates too. Those strike plates that basically go the entire height of your door.
Yeah, with 3-inch screws.
Yeah. And then they also have the for the simple ones, they have the little so long as you have a hardwood floor, it doesn't work too good on carpet because the carpet will move. But you got tile or hardwood floor. Well, this thing here, the top of it goes underneath the doorknob, and you set it so it's against the floor there. And so as it pushes on it, it binds and keeps the door from opening as well. But as opposed to some doors have just a single door knob. Let's see, but others, as long as they have the deadbolt as well. So they see a deadbolt as well as the other one when they, from the outside, but on the inside they don't know you have this other one on here. They're going to try to kick around the doorknob here, and if it ain't moving, because you got the bar in there, that's going to help out a lot.
Yeah. That's one of those cases where like the door frame will break before the actual door gives way. And
here's a simple one. You put screw into the wall studs next to the door, not actually part of the door frame, but the studs behind it, and you can just drop like a 2x4 in there or a piece of pipe. So, there's a lot of ideas out there. Google home invasion, door security, and you'll get all sorts of ideas. And then there's also ones for window security as well. Let me get that in there.
PV made a little wedge. He did a video a while back. He made a little wedge with a block of wood. I don't know if it had a piece of carpet or something on it, and he just wedged it.
Yeah,
under the door.
That's part of my EDC. When I'm out and about, it's got a little, basically a doorway. So if you're out and about, no matter where it is, you could be in the shops or offices or school or wherever. You've got an instant means there and then, a small little triangular piece of wood to secure yourself away in a room and wedge the door. I mean, all these, like Gil said there, there's hundreds of different products available, and you could fortify your house to death. But at the end of the day, what you want to do, hey Guardian, if you want to, no matter what measures you implement, you're trying to buy yourself time to act and think. So that, act in terms of grab your own defensive equipment or your shielding equipment, or buy you time to get into your safe space, or buy you time to evacuate.
Right.
And so on. But time is a big key factor.
Now, here on this one picture here, you see they put decorative bars over the window, so it's not ugly bars. Like these are semi-ugly bars. These are decorative. There's also a film you can get to put on it, so they can beat on it. It's going to take them forever to break through that window. But the window will shatter, but it holds it intact. And they just keep on beating on it.
It's a security film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what's interesting, you can get two different types. Rated. You can get the stuff that goes on the outside, and you can get the stuff that goes on the inside. And if you really want to do it, you put on both sides. But there's a bunch of ways to do it. They also have different type of window locks and stuff. I'm trying to find the one here. They also have the blinds that are heavy duty steel blinds that work both as security barrier for them to try to get through. And then they also have here's one where they have the it goes on the outside. It looks like a window, but on the inside it pulls across like a curtain, like a expanding curtain type thing of so it blocks on the inside.
That's like something you see at a shopping mall whenever the individual stores start to close.
Exactly. But this goes on the inside of the window, so it's not so obvious. It doesn't stand out like a sore thumb on the outside. But when they get up close to the window and they're like, oh, wait a minute, they got that in there. Shoot, I can't get in that window. So, yeah. And then, of course, there's the real paranoid one, where they got actually had the steel rolled down doors and stuff over the door and the window and stuff. That really stands out.
That's like Summer of Love right there. You know, you're prepared for Summer of Love 2.0.
Yeah.
See, we've been joined by the burglar.
Now there is. I was going to say about them bars on the windows. They're supposed to have the set where you can remove them from the inside, so that way, if in case there's a fire, you're not trapped in your own house.
Right. Yeah, they have them where where they mount on the side there. They actually has there's a hole drilled through and it goes through, and then on the inside it has not a cotter pin, a heavier duty thing pin going through it, like a 1/4-inch pin or 3/8 inch pin through that rod that comes through, and it just locks on there, so it can't do it, but you can flip and just push it right out of the way from the inside.
I thought I heard somewhere in Spain, like in order to get insurance for your house, you were required to have bars on your windows. I'm not sure.
Yeah. In certain parts of Spain, it's an insurance requirement. There's they use all sorts of insidious ways in Spain, though they have done in the past, to gain access. And one of them was to pipe sleeping gas through the letterbox until it knocks everybody out, and then smash their way in, or use angle grinders to cut the doors open and the windows open.
Hey, that's some dedication right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's yeah. So, I mean,
that happens very rarely, though.
Like that's your hardcore home invaders right there. That's not your average run of the mill. You don't want to do a quick smash and grab, make a quick buck.
If it was me and I was on the invading side, I would at least have a cordless angle grinder with me, because they're relatively small. They can cut through just about everything, any padlock, any metal, to within certain, thickness. And
they're not very quiet. They're pretty noisy. When you start and grinding on the metal, whether it be in the middle of the day or middle of the night.
These days,
you're giving away your position.
Yeah, I mean, these days, people, they're not bothered. They know the police aren't a very effective, responsive force anymore. They know the neighbors, where in most places will just hide away until the event's gone and hope the inhabitants aren't going to get killed, hope the inhabitants are insured and all sorts of stuff. So people will just stay stum,
stay back and film with their cell phone cameras.
So it comes back down to, the layers of security beforehand. And, one of them, apart from deterring and putting lights, cameras and all this sort of stuff around the house, is building up a community awareness system, if you like. It's talking to the neighbors, getting other people on board, getting people to watch out, and getting the people to watch out that is going to act and tell someone about what's happening, or join you in sort of the deterrent factor.
Yeah, getting like a neighborhood watch, not only a neighborhood watch, but getting the neighbors to, let's everybody put up some motion sensor lights. Everybody put up cameras. If you can't afford a camera, afford one of the dummy cameras to put up that looks like it's a camera, That way they don't know whether it's a real camera or not because it looks just like the real thing.
Even
Hey,
in
Bob.
Hey, Bob.
even in when things start to escalate, and as time goes on, law enforcement will gradually get more and more ineffective due to budgetary constraints, manpower, recruiting, this sort of stuff. The brazen criminal element will start to pick up, and you'll start to see more and more community cohesiveness where people will start to band together and develop into a step beyond neighborhood watch programs where they're having to. You'll start to see a rise of private security coming into various areas. Private security in terms of sort of response teams that you will pay sort of, I don't know, monthly subscription. They'll react quicker than the police, get there, and then they're like an intermediary step between you and the police, if you like, but at a cost, which is a good buffer zone. And,
Hey, Darren Upton, good to see you, brother.
Quite a few countries have adopted this, and it's quite effective. And in some places, they outnumber the police altogether. But you're then putting your trust and your money into the integrity of that company, and how well do they vet their people? Are they trustworthy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
So, but that's one of the measures we can take before the confrontation effect.
Yeah, there's one of the other things too is along that same lines is, I mean, there's a over here in America, there's a company called Ring. And basically it's like the doorbell has a camera on it. You get a camera system, and you also get a panic button in the house. And you can hit that panic button and they will call the police. So you hit the panic button and you go hide. They call the police, and they monitor the cameras too from their headquarters. They say, someone's trying to kick down the front door right now at blank, blank, blank house. These are the owners, the name of the owners. And, so they'll get the police come and say, we're watching them. There's three guys trying to break in the door. This is going to be a bad situation. And that in and among itself then motivates the police to go quicker. There are also, some of the security companies have the same thing. You hit the panic button, the security company goes straight to your house. And Bob has that little bar I was talking about.
Heads up to you guys. These things are effectively useless. Okay. Because it's a little spring-loaded pin that holds it in place. And what I've done with all of mine is I got the elevation set, and then I drove screws into it.
Yeah.
To hold it still. Otherwise, this little pin will, as soon as you push on it, as soon as you slam this, the pin pops in and the thing flies right off your door.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. You got to put screws in these things to hold it where it needs to be, or else they're useless.
Did you use sheet screws for those, sheet metal screws?
Yeah, I drilled like a little 1/8 inch hole and drove them in, self-tapping sheet metal screws. Yeah.
Is it worth?
They don't work. They don't work.
Is it worth?
Just go ahead. Sorry.
Say, question for Bob there. Is it worth putting a little wooden block drilled into the floor to stop the base potentially slipping away?
It becomes a tripping hazard.
They don't slip away. They collapse because this little thing that's supposed to hold it in place doesn't.
As well as that.
It just pops in and it collapses and it's gone. It just flies out. I don't know. I'm not going to put any screws in my floors. I got hardwood floors, so I'm not going to do that. They do work, but you got to modify it. You have to fix it up and make it work.
Yeah, there are some that are more high dollar ones. Basically, it's like a big screw jack. So you screw it out to the right size, and it has a lock nut on it. Those are a bit better, but they also cost a bit more money too to get those. But anything you can do to keep to make your home not a target is probably your first best bet. Is make it so your home is not a target.
Well, yeah, we had an incident a couple of weeks ago. The Mexican family across the street from our house doesn't have any home security at all. And guess whose house they went for was his.
Yeah.
You know, they went around everybody else's homes because almost all my neighbors have got cameras and etc. And
So
they're all set up.
That
It's a deterrent.
demonstrates a level of pre-recce.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, they do. They ride their bicycles. They ride their bicycles around the neighborhoods, and they look.
Right. I was going to say, have you noticed what methods they use? So they go around on bikes then, pretending to be just casually cycling around.
There is one guy's pretty clever. He wears an orange vest like a city worker, and he has a thing. He points at the water meters. He's acting like he's working for the city, measuring the water meters. He's not. He's a thief. Guarantee you, he is a thief. I've run him off. As soon as I see somebody on my cameras, boom, I open the doors and I run right out in my front in my driveway. I stand there and I put eyes on him. He disappears every time, but he's still looking. Yep.
Kind of like that guy with the 5-gallon bucket.
That same thing. Yeah, you saw that video.
Yeah, I remember that video.
Like Darren Dobson's comment there. I've got a bank vault door. Works great. If they have a blowtorch, I'm screwed.
Yeah, I've got a video on my channel where I put there's a steel plate that's about 4 feet long, comes off Amazon, and put that on my door. And
yeah, the strike plate.
Boy, it works too. I've just go to YouTube and just go testing security things from Amazon. You know,
yeah,
they'll show you.
I don't remember. I do not remember. This is years ago. I don't remember. I remember seeing a video of somebody's testing out a striker plate. They were demoing a set of apartment building. You know, this apartment building. They decided to put a striker plate on one of the doors to one of the apartment units that they're gonna test, and they were testing it side by side with reinforced door with the striker, the enhanced striker plate, and one without. And then I think they might have done one where they had changed out like the screws on the door, you know, replaced all the standard screws with like 3-inch screws. And just doing 3-inch screws on its own does a world of difference as far as
big time. What I've done, guys, is on the inside doors, I've got some locks on some of them that just throw the latch and it locks and it delays them from being able to kick. But all the inside doors of my house, I replaced all the hinge screws and the little strike plate screws with 3-inch long screws. And in conjunction with these, you know, it'll delay them enough to where we can, you know. But yeah, if you have a combination of these things and replace the screws on the striker plate and the hinges on the interior doors, it'll slow them down a bit. It will, you know.
Vanessa says install your own doors, rebuild any framing to better protect that door. Yeah, that's another idea.
Because like the interior doors, they're hollow core. No, they will come apart if you start pounding on it. They will. But the stuff I just mentioned gives you some time. But if you look at how the interior doors are, they come to the contractor as a door in the frame. They just put it in place and they just put a couple of nails to hold it in place, and that's it. But when you remove your hinge screws and put in some 3-inch long screws, same with your striker plate, that holds the frame in place as well as the striker plate and the hinges. You know?
Now, what if you got somebody reenacting their version of The Shining and them being Jack Nicholson?
Yeah, it'll what I just mentioned will buy you enough time to where you can pick up your weapon and, you know, be ready for them. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, they have them with the pins on them for just a simple deadbolt. They also have the ones with the you know, the combination ones, which gives even more strength. And recently here, where is it? I got a picture of it here somewhere down here. Here we go. you got your up on the top here, you got your standard little retracting, door thing, but this thing has 4 deadbolts on it. So it spreads out the stuff even greater, but you got to have those big screws holding the strike plate itself into the wall. Now, some of them also come with you actually, it has a steel thing in there, and you got the screws going in the back. You got the big screws in the front. There is a lot of options, but you got to look for your options to use them. This one has 3 on it.
I'm gonna copy and paste a video from my channel. What I use to reinforce my steel front door. It cost about $100 for this system, but it reinforces the hinges and the strike plate. The striker plate is no longer this big anymore. It's 4 feet long. Get one of those. Trust me. I've seen tests on YouTube about this. Trust me, that thing, you're not going to get that door open.
In that video I was talking about where they're going to be demoing apartments, and they were, like said, they were trying to test those out. They actually had the door frame give out before the actual back half of the door frame where the hinges are attached to start to give out before the surface where the striker plate was mounted give out.
Yeah. But yeah, go refer if you're going to think about buying something for home security. Go to reviews on YouTube about this kind of stuff, because they'll show you. There's guys out there who have the money to buy all this stuff and test it.
I wanna emphasize, when I say in door frame, I'm not talking about the door casing. I'm talking about the actual framework, the studs in the walls.
Yeah.
I think an often overlooked part of anyone's property is the garden area, and there's a lot people can do just to get the deterrence factor going from the garden. And we've heard all there's all sorts of stories flying around what you can use: spiky plants, cactus, poisonous plants, poison ivy. It's all good stuff, and it will deter people. But if someone just walks over or steps over a fence or pushes over a wooden fence which has been damaged by rain, wood, rot, or it's on its way out, as soon as they're in a sort of sheltered area in most times, and once they're in the sheltered area and they're out of someone's eyes or vision, neighbors, etc., they've got all the time in the world until you're back to do what they like.
Yeah,
even if it means pulling apart locks with pliers or using glass cutters or whatever means they use. They've got more time on their hands. So as far as perimeter defense goes, if you've got a brick wall, you can put spikes on top depending on where you live. Obviously laws applies. Broken glass embedded into cement, use of plants, use of fences that you can see through as well. So getting rid of obstacles that they can hide around and behind. If a car goes past, they can quickly duck down. You're avoiding that sort of thing. But definitely the use of natural inconspicuous defense around your back garden is a key factor that most people wouldn't consider.
Keep your bushes cut way back from the ground up and small. So
Tanglefoot.
Why would you as an attacker go through the most fortified place of the house, in the front door, when you can just easily slip around the back and go in through the conservatory door, for instance? So like I said, people got to do their own sort of view their house as if they're the burglar, and identify their own weak spots, because there'll be multiple weak spots. Don't leave garden tools lying around, ladders and so on. Don't give the burglar the tools to get into your own house and this sort of thing.
Exactly. Rocks, all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty common sense, but people are just too busy wrapped up in their own lives and put things on the back burner and they're just too blasé about things until it happens. The same old thing as anything in it. It's all going well and smoothly, and life's rolling along until something happens, and then bingo, you've lost X, Y, Z. You've been hurt or worse. And then, on top of all this, think about when you're actually leaving your property, what have you left inside your house? Don't leave laptops lying around on the sofa when you've gone out, because if someone has got literally 1 minute to get in your house and leave, they'll just look around quickly and away.
Also, there's good resources out there. Just go interview with a thief.
Yeah.
And watch what they're looking for. I just put another one of my videos in the side chat here, how I used the golf course netting and put it across the front of my garage door. And I put crowdle bells on it because it can be breached. It can be. Anything can be breached. But once again, when he's riding his bicycle around, looking around the neighborhood, you're going to look at my place with golf course netting across the front of my place, and they're going to look at the neighbors who's got nothing. Well, guess who's they're going to go for? They're going to go for the easy target.
The other thing to consider too, from what Vanessa put out there, is your garage door.
Bingo, big time.
Yeah, you got to make sure you got a good garage, and that you have it set up so that you on the inside you have like they're not actually deadbolts, they're more like the gate post thing. You have double open gates. You put the one down, well, you turn it sideways, and so you just put it through, and it holds the door from being able to go up at all. Even there are some burglars out there that have a scanner type unit that they push it and it broadcasts on multiple frequencies, and they see which garage doors open up. And then they go, okay, we got the code for this one, we got the code for that one. And then they can come back later on, at night and, open it up, or during the day, as soon as you leave for work, they open it up, and then nobody's at home because you've gone to work. Now they go into the garage door, then they lower the door again, and then they can kick their way into the house if you have a secure door between the house and the garage. If you don't have a secure door, they'll just walk right in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's loads of the garage doors are very weak points, especially the ones that have got the emergency pull cord in there. You can just pull that, and the whole door's open instantly. Really, there's various other tools you can get and devices you can get to bolt the actual garage door to the floor as well. It's all plan a budget around what your level of income is going to be. Really,
one of the most important things, guys. Don't just sit there and look at it. Don't just sit there and think about it. Fucking do it. Do something. My channel's full of this kind of stuff. Full of it. Do it. Don't sit there with your thumb in your mouth. Well, what if and maybe? Do it. And don't wait. That's the first thing I started doing when we got into this house here. Got a professionally installed security system, and then I went to work. But that's one thing I learned. An example was an old friend of mine I used to work with. He did nothing. And one day he came home and his back door is kicked open, and they went in there and stole some of his rifles. They robbed him. Then he started becoming active. It's like, too late, dude. You already got to have your back door replaced. Too late. Why didn't you do something before? Don't just think about it. Do it.
Yeah, I see people here with that exact mentality. Oh, nothing's happened for years. It's not going. It never happens here. We're in a safe area.
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
I heard that when I first moved here. I go, what's crime like, etc. And all the women in the neighborhood. Oh, that doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
The hell it don't. They're looking for you. They're looking for you.
Not me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about another problem. especially when it comes to home invasions. Let's say you and your wife and you have 2 kids and you take them to school and you get back home and you get knocked down and they do their home invasion that way because both of you work at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be a problem because they follow you back home.
Yeah.
One of the this is part of your overall security plan, you know, and it forms part of your personal security and your family security. Leaving the house and coming back into the house is a critical time because you're at the point in which you're vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
You're in stasis, if you like. So the moment you operate, you know, you can adopt a procedure where you, as you're approaching the house, you're looking around for any unusual signs of activity. Is anything happening? You know, try and identify your house as early as possible. Is there any unusual cars parked outside? Is anyone hanging around outside? Look at the places where potentially someone could hide. And once you pull up, you make it as, you know, you're scanning the area because of the vulnerability aspect of it. And you get from A to B. If you're in such a heightened threat area, you get from A to B with as quick as you can. And if there's 2 or 3 of you, 1 of 2 of you, keep a lookout and this sort of stuff. It sounds a bit bodyguardish, but why wouldn't you do it, really? You know, if it's happened in the past and you're in such an area where this sort of thing goes on, then I would do that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like
it
I say,
happens everywhere now.
Right? Yeah.
It happens everywhere. Yeah.
So, you know, on the approach to your house, you're looking for the key indicators of something out of the ordinary, and these things can happen so quick that
I've said this 1,000 times. The last place we lived, I had 19 attempted home invasions and 1 successful invasion. And he came in through the garage door while I was sitting in the garage. Those guys are on you like that. You don't have time they don't stand out of the sidewalk. Hey, guess what? They don't do that. They come right in, man. You don't have time to react. I'm lucky the guy didn't attack me. I'm very lucky because he's a career criminal. He had just been released from prison that morning. That's why I'm going to say it again. Don't sit there and talk about it. Don't sit there and think about it. Fucking do something, you know, because what are you going to do? Your wife's out in the garage, going to go get into her car, and a guy walks right in. Now he's going to bash her brains out, rape her, and take whatever you've got. And they'll do it in a second, man. I mean, they're on you, you know?
Yeah. And they're good at it as well. They've practiced it before. They've done it before.
They've done it before.
They're mentally prepared for it. But Vanessa's put a good point there. It says, how do you protect yourself while waiting for a package deliveries, walking your dog, doing your walking for your health? And on top of that, you could add in, you know, whilst you're out at work.
Guardian.
Hey, Guardian.
Guardian.
Driving your kids to school, coming back from school, shopping. So it's all that sort of approaching the house procedure, the vulnerability aspect, looking out for the key indicators as you're approaching. Yeah. So
I'll show you a simple thing that I do when I'm.
Yeah, that's a good point there. How many of you in your home? You get home, you bring in the groceries in. You brought all the groceries in. How many turn around and lock the front door or the side door that you came into the house? How many of you leave it open? Oh, the kids are going to be home in a little bit from school, and you leave the doors unlocked.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. Like just basic situational awareness. It's really, really good to point that out.
You're
and
very
also
welcome,
make sure
Gary.
that you don't get like lured outside. That's a lot of the time certain like, you know, home invaders will try and lure you outside as well. So do not take that bait. Sorry, go ahead there, Bob.
Well, this is what I do leaving my car going into the house or leaving my car going into the supermarket. My keys are on a neck lanyard. And as soon as I get out, this is in my hand and I carry it like that. So they're around this area. They're looking. They're in the parking lots, riding their bicycles around, looking for victims. I see it. Who are they going to go for? The jackass on the phone or a guy walking along with a weapon in his hands? They're not going to go for me. They're going to go for somebody over there who's unaware of what they're doing. That's one of the simplest things you can do to protect yourself from your car into your house is put this in your hand right there. Because as soon as he knows he's already outmatched because you've got it in your hand. Get it? Just a key lanyard, you know. We go through a lot of shit here in the Seattle area, you know. It's amazing how oblivious you I would say more you get hardened to it, you know. But you have to change your habits to meet the threat. That's up to you, you know. Yeah, being aware, put that damn phone in your pocket, carry your keys in your hands like this, you know. Whack.
That goes
when
back
when I'm at work, when I deliver the groceries to people, when I always get out of the car to get the stuff, I always look around.
Me too.
I always that I do that from just on routine. I don't think about it. I just do it.
Yep, you do. It becomes a routine. You get used to it. In fact, I've done this many times. I'll drive around the parking lot for a little while before I park. I'm look who's out in the parking lot. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. The problem is you are most vulnerable when you are going into your car and out of your car.
Yeah. The what's funny is years and years and years ago, where my sister was living, they started having an increase in attacks in the parking lot at the grocery stores and stuff. I told my sister, hey, carry your spray can of Aquanet in your purse or in the inside coat pocket, whatever. She goes, but I don't have the lighter for it. I go, you don't even need the lighter. Just spray it in the person's face. That Aquanet hairspray is so gumpy and stuff. It's going to, you spray in their eyes. They're going to close their eyes and they're going to have a hard time opening their eyes back up again because it's going to try to seal their eyes closed. Aquanet is a great home defense tool for women. Guys, it's a little bit harder for us to use because we don't have all big poofy hair, but one of the other things that I was going to mention earlier, I've seen several home security systems where they have outside speakers, like the speakers hidden in rocks and stuff out in the front yard and stuff. And when they hit the panic button, it plays, someone's breaking into our house, call the police, somebody's breaking into our house. And that really loud. And that's better than a siren, or one of those little bells or sirens or whatever, it's so, it's announcing what's going on. And that also deters people as well.
That's what I've got all the way across my garage door now, all the way across the whole distance. Crotal bells hanging up on this golf course netting.
Bring it back up again. Show me again. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. That's all the way across the front of my garage door right there, from one end to the other. The netting cost about $80 plus about another $20, $30 for the large crotal bells. They're jingle bells.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it took you can buy a 4-foot by 5-foot piece of this golf course netting. You're not going to break this stuff. And I installed both pieces within 10 minutes. I use plastic zip ties to zip tie it all the way across the front of my garage door.
Now, do you have that, is that reinforcing the back of your garage door? Or is that something that you have down when the garage door is up?
Yeah, I lock it in place with D-rings to the walls. And then in between, I got shelving put up in front of my garage door, and I zip tie it to the shelving. It can be breached. It can be breached. But once again,
I was just curious how you have that set up, because I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if I'm supposed to attach that directly to the door itself, or if that's supposed to be only up when the garage door is open.
When the garage door is open.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like while I'm sitting here and I have the garage door open, like I told you a moment ago, when that criminal came into my garage, he came in like that. I mean, he didn't hesitate. He's heading for the door to get into the house. That stops that behavior. He can't just walk right in. He's going to have to grab the netting and pull on it and tear it or cut it or whatever. Now he's ringing crotal bells, and there's a physical barrier with an alarm built into it with the crotal bells or the big jingle bells.
This is what I like. I like noise-making devices, devices that slow people down. That's the key factor. Like I said, anything that will buy you time to act and think about what's happening. Because it could be 3 a.m, you're in a deep sleep, and all of a sudden, bang, something happens. You wake up with a start, and it takes sometimes 3 or 4 seconds, if longer, to realize you're not actually dreaming anymore. And that key critical time to act and in your predetermined plan or whatever, then that's a massive bonus. So
you look how fast somebody can break through a window and get in, like the sliding doors. We got sliding doors. Most of the houses here in the States have got those glass doors. I've got vinyl, and I'm just waiting for it to be a warm day when the neighborhood's empty. I'll go out there and I'll put that vinyl over my windows. That's coming next, because that's not just throw a rock and walk in. Because if you're upstairs sleeping, all you hear is one bang, and the guy's already in the house that fast.
Yeah.
That vinyl coating, he's going to have to pound on it for a while. Another thing that I've done around my place, especially where the fence meets the house, and we got a gazebo in the backyard. You can buy bird spikes. Search for those on Amazon, and anywhere they could stand on the gazebo and jump up to the second floor and grab a windowsill and pull themselves in, put those bird spikes along it. They're just gonna and I put the bird spikes on the corners of the house where the fences meet the house. You see, that's a physical deterrent. Well, I mean, they're not going to jump up and grab those bird spikes. They can't. It'll go right through their hands.
Yeah, and that will be really painful.
Yeah, you won't hang on for long. You're going to come right off there.
There was a comment that went by here a couple minutes ago from Southern Fried Prepper, and it's I work for an alarm central station. The time from the alarm trip to the final police department dispatch is a minimum of 7 to 5 minutes, unless you live next to a Dunkin'. It's 18 to 25 response from the police department.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
If they actually bother to respond as well.
Most of the time nowadays here, they don't respond to house alarms anymore. That's why it's a hook to my phone, and as soon as something happens around here, I get a notification on my phone, and I can go home like that.
Seconds count. Police are only minutes away.
I mean, going back to this noise making factor, and they're buying you as much time as possible. Everyone these days should have some sort of immediate plan or set of equipment by their bed in case they have to act, whether that be a self-defense club, a shield,
when
firearm,
seconds count, police are
whatever.
only minutes away.
Yeah.
So it's a case of get up, your trousers and shoes as well, a decent pair of or any form of footwear that you can walk with instantly. So you could wake up in the morning, hey Idaho, wake up in the middle of the night, bang, something's happened, instantly put your trousers on, shoes straight on, grab your I don't know, firearm, shield, pistol, club, whatever, torch, and then you're off and away down to investigate what's happened. If the alarm's tripped, for instance, because the last thing you want to do is wake up in the middle of the night and start walking over broken glass in your house, and you're just creating your own sort of injuries.
Shovel handle and a golf club.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah,
Those are all over our house. It's stuck in the corners all around our house.
Right.
For a woman, just take and cut the head off of a golf club. This is one of the best strikers for a woman because it's very lightweight. You can just waylay. I'm not talking about hitting somebody like that, but you've got to waylay them and come back and hit them. That's again and again and again and keep beating on them.
Right. So that's another method there. You've got stuff that you can use immediately to hand dotted around the place that know where they are and they're not in obvious positions. Yeah.
Yep. That's why I took the golf club and painted them charcoal gray so I can lean them in the corners of a room and it's not seen. And we know where they are. They don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
That was about $2 or $3 for a golf club. And this is a shovel handle. That was maybe $10 for 2 or 3 of them. Yep.
I might be interested in just keeping some putters around. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier, but when you swing and that putter makes contact.
But the thing is, Gil, it's very long.
You get some of the ones from the old miniature golf courses, the ones for kids.
This is faster and easier. Just take a full size one, cut it down to about the length. This is Arnis, Filipino stick and knife. Cut it down to about the length of your elbow to the tip of your finger. Okay, right around that length. Because even if you're in the hallway or on the stairwell, you can still use it. A full-size golf club, good, but how are you going to come out of your bedroom and chase a guy down the hallway with a full-size golf club and you hit the wall? Now you're done.
So
remember that.
About a big thing that Bob. Go ahead, Bob.
Remember that length. Cut it to fit you about from the tip of your elbow to about the tip of your middle finger.
Yeah.
Can be in the kitchen, hallway, bathroom, anywhere, and you can still swing it and use it. Yeah.
The same rule that he's busy talking about there, that Bob's busy speaking about, actually applies to like medieval combat as well. If you look at a lot of the fighters, a shorter weapon like that is much better in close situations and close proximity where there is wars as well. And then also being able to stay on the outside of a group, making sure that a group doesn't surround you when you're in those situations as well. It makes it you can fend off like a couple of attackers at a time as well. If you're able to use the right or the left flank of the group and stay on the outside, then you can fight 1 or 2 people at a time. As soon as you're surrounded, it's pretty much over. I wanted to bring up a very quick point just about this topic, and really this is something that is extremely passionate to me because obviously, as you all know, this is something that in our country here in South Africa, our crime rate is through the roof. And you won't even believe how bad it is at times. So you can go onto Google Earth and pretty much go into any residential area in South Africa, any one of your choosing. Go and look at all the houses around, and you'll notice a pattern. You'll see that every single house throughout the residential areas has extremely high walls with barbed wire, with electrical fencing, multiple dogs in the yard, all of the things that you should be paying attention to in those ways as well. As South Africans, it's just become second nature in a lot of ways for us. So making sure that you lock and you alert at all times. One of you guys were mentioning when you pull into a driveway, making sure that the bushes aren't too stacked up that somebody can just get a jump on you. There's a lot of strategic things like that you can do.
Southern Fried Prepper also said here, best deterrence is just putting alarm sign stickers, out. If they see that this is protected by such and such alarm company and everything else, you have a couple of those on the windows as well. And then you have a couple, cameras, even if they're dummy cameras, they're just saying, okay, they got an alarm company, they got cameras. Okay, this is one not to. They're going to be videoing, so they don't know what the response time is then going to be if they say, oh, they can actually see someone breaking in. So
you can even put a light on. If you get yourself one of the solar lights and you put a solar light near a camera, then at nighttime it looks like an authentic camera light, because usually a camera light, what they'll look for is the brighter lights for the cameras. So just put a solar light near your camera and it'll look exactly the same as having like a proper camera light, because at nighttime it'll turn on automatically.
Well,
so that's a very good point.
You can get the little fake cameras that have, you put a 9-volt battery in there, and it has the red light is on blinking. It'll go for like 6-7 months before you got to replace it. And so it's like, oh, there's a camera, it's working, and they'll But yeah, motion sensor lights, especially nowadays with the new LED ones, you can get those suckers that are so friggin' bright. It's like, dang, it hurts your eyes, and that will, that in itself will, make it uncomfortable for the burglar to or home invader to there.
I've got some of those. It's like you can get a suntan outside at night when they come on.
Yep.
Yeah, but people, there's other elements of burglary which aren't as apparent to everybody. It's not just about physical intrusion. You got to be aware of prowlers and stalkers, peeping toms and stuff like that, peering in through windows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For instance, if you are on your computer next to a window, you don't leave your information within sight, so someone looking through a window can read it, because they can read the calendar, for instance, on the wall. Oh, you're going on holiday over those 2 weeks, or you're not writing passwords down on bits of paper stuck to your desk that people can read through the window, or other critical information that people can salvage or use against you. So, although day-to-day business, you might not think you've been invaded, but someone could have read the information through the window and got at you through different methods.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. It's simple to get around, face your computer the other way, use of blinds and all this sort of stuff. And plus the fact you're not advertising the fact of what type of computer you've got, which is an attractable item, easy to sell, and all this sort of thing.
VA does yesterday.
Southern Fried Prepper brings up a good point. Don't put up any, will be shot, will be killed. That shows intent in court, because if you have to pull the trigger on somebody, they're going to use that against you in court.
Yeah.
The signs that I do have around the front and the back, in fact, there's even one right up above me that can be seen from the street. Private property, no trespassing. Stick with that. Keep that. Don't go, I'll kill you. That you're going to get hung. In fact, on that golf course netting that I got across the front of my garage, I've got a sign hanging on that. That says the same thing: private property, no trespassing. Because if I got to pull the trigger on somebody coming in here, they're going to look at everything. They're even going to go open up your social media too, guys. Yeah, they will. Everything that you use. And if you have, that's why you got to be careful what you say online, because they'll use that against you too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going. Don't do that. Don't set yourself up for failure, because when they want to prosecute you, because they will, if you hurt or kill somebody on your property, they're going to use anything they can to get a conviction.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned this earlier. We literally did mention this earlier. We've mentioned this on multiple streams, but we mentioned this earlier today on this very stream. And then I tied in the fact that you also want to be careful if you do own a dog. Don't be posting up the beware of dog signs, because they will use it against you in a court of law, stating, oh, well, you knew you had a vicious dog.
Yeah.
They say the sign was intent.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to speak to the police, in some countries like Britain, for instance, you ring up and say, I've got a trespasser. Trespass, they will not react to that because trespassing is not a criminal offence in Britain. It's a civil offence, so the police can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But another aspect of pre-Reckian locations, as well as people looking into your house and getting information from what's written on the walls and so on, is the use of, like you say, social media and Google Earth as well. Google Street View. And if anyone, it's quite easy to do. It takes a couple of weeks to go onto your Google Street View and remove your property from Street View picture. So as people glide down the street on the computer, when it comes to your property, it will just appear like a big fuzzy sort of outline where your house is, so they can't scope it out remotely, you know.
That's it. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I've heard about
You
that.
can.
I'll just tell you in a sec. It takes 2 seconds, really. I'll just have a refresh. I'll just go on Google Maps.
Now, PV, earlier you're talking about, try and look at your house from the perspective of a thief, basically casing your own house.
Yeah.
Is it a good idea when you're casing your own house to make sure you're doing it in a car you don't normally drive or you don't normally have, and make sure you're wearing like a ski mask or something like that, and you're doing this?
Well, there's various levels you can do. I mean, you start off with the basics. So walk around the outside of your house, look at what's lying around, what can be used, how can the tools lying around can be used to gain entrance. For instance, you might have don't leave things lying around, basically. So don't leave ladders lying around.
Now, I'm glad you guys did bring up the bricks and the rocks, because that's been something I've been picking up around this house since I moved in. Like, I'm not kidding you. I have stacked probably close to about 100 bricks and pavers laying and cinder blocks and chunks of cinder blocks laying all over the yard, trying to clean up the yard around this house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still finding them. Like, I still find them every now and then.
Yeah, when people finish doing a DIY job outside, don't leave the hammer lying around, don't leave the screwdriver, the crowbar lying around, because they're the classic sort of tradesman's tools, if you like. And then you can sit in your car, outside your property, and just sit there for 15, 20 minutes. You don't have to necessarily look at your own house. And as you sit there, within 15, 20 minutes, you'll start noticing things. Yeah, and if you don't do this sort of thing, you'll notice things like the pattern of life, and this builds up to things like walking around, taking a walk around your neighborhood. You'll see the sort of the general pattern of life of what goes on day to day, hour to hour, and so on, and that'll build up a picture, or sort of a personal intelligence picture of what's going on. And then as you gradually, as you sat there in your car, you just look around your house, thinking, right, if I lost my keys, how would I get in now? Oh, I could just climb up that thing there through the window, and that sort of thing. Or
PV brings good topic, but what I've done day and night time too. Before I started putting up all the solar motion lights, I went out at night across the street and went, there's a dark spot. There's a dark spot. We're going to floodlight those, Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good point.
Key vulnerability point, and simple to do. And like you say, do it at night as well. You can even do it in bad weather, because not many people. It's a habit of many people, probably everyone, that when it rains outside, you don't even bother looking out or paying attention to outside. You sort of retract inwards. You put the TV on, listen to the radio, you go on the computer, and so on. And it brings up the sort of what's ignored outside. People may not be having eyes on the street if they're part of a neighborhood watch program and this sort of thing. Just walk around, do sort of a health and safety check as well.
Yeah.
What's going to injure you? What can I swap around? Is there visible points, pathways, and so on? What can I do to slow intruders down? What can I do to make more noise if I'm an intruder? Some people go to the lengths of having gravel driveways and so on. expense is a key factor with this sort of thing. But yeah, a prerequi is definitely key.
Bushcraft brought up a couple of good points. Talking about essentially, like thinking like a criminal versus a homeowner. And I don't know. I do agree to a point that you put a bunch of security measures on your house. You do draw attention to your house, and therefore, it might entice your more hardened criminal to break in. You can't prevent everybody from getting in your house. I mean, the most determined criminal is going to find a way in regardless, no matter what your security protocol is. Shy of actually having, some sort of quick reaction for security, private security on at your property.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's really going to be difficult to stop, all illegal activities. I
used to think that way, where I don't want to put up a bunch of stuff and mark myself as a target. But a recent example, like I told you, the Mexican family across the street had no security system at all, and the guy came over their back fence, was heading for their back door. All the rest of us have got stuff, cameras and all that. He didn't come to their houses at all.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because like you guys, the difference is the entire neighborhood is set up to where everybody is a hard target to one degree or another, just like what Guardian Fitness was saying over there in South Africa. Everybody's got walls and fences, electric fences, and concertina wire, barbed wire up. And then you got somebody who doesn't have all that stuff up.
Yeah.
No brainer. They're going to go after, the target that seems to have the least amount of obstacles in their way.
Yeah. What Phelan just put up there about the purple paint laws, that goes hand in hand with what Bob had with his private property, no trespassing. A lot of, how do I put this? Foreign nationals who don't read English or have a hard time reading English say, I know what that sign means. Well, there's purple paint laws for several states where if you paint purple on the gates or something, or you have purple ribbons up, that says that means, it's supposed to be a multilingual thing for no trespassing. Mm-hmm. Well, some states like Idaho, Montana use orange paint, and Maryland uses blue paint, and Virginia uses purple or aluminum colored paint. So, there is no standard here in America, but there are colored coatings that you can put up there that says, no private property, no trespassing. And so that's another thing too, because you'll get some of these, I don't want to say the word here, but foreign nationals that are undocumented, that try to use their lack of English reading, even whether it's true or not, to be able to get away with breaking into homes. And you go, I didn't know it was no trespassing, in their language, their native language. But
I'm glad you brought up the whole purple paint thing, because I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't until probably about less than a couple years ago that I knew anything about that, because I thought it was kind of an odd thing. So in Texas, they do like purple fence posts. You might not necessarily have like a fence or a full fence erected, but people will pound a T-post in the ground and paint it purple. And it's to be a universal sign that this is private property. And also part of the whole idea of painting something purple is the whole argument of, well, I'm colorblind. Most people that are colorblind can still see purple, unless you got like one of the rare color blindnesses where it's like you see everything in the gray.
Colorblind,
a gray spectrum.
Mm-hmm. So I've just put a link on there in the comments. How to hide your house from Google, basically.
Okay.
So basically what you do is you go to the Google Street View of the property you want to blur out, and bottom right hand corner it says report a problem. You click on that, another window will pop up, and you can then request it to be blurred out. And you just put your email address in there, and basically within 2 weeks it's blurred out. It's done. So it's it can remove that aspect of people recceing certain property. So Street View, bottom right hand corner, report a problem, and then you can do it that way. It's easy to do.
I will give criminals credit for using Google Street View as a means of staking out somebody's house.
Yeah, why not?
But how, like I said, for at least for the creativity. However, I've also noticed that Google Street View isn't 100% accurate 100% of the time. Take, for instance, my parents' old house in Colorado. I check out the Google Street View on that from time to time. They still haven't updated Google Street View on that house in over 13 years.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to be aware as well, it's not just Google these days. You've got Apple Street View as well. Bing Maps as well do it. So if you're going to do it, you've got to do it across multiple platforms.
Well, I'm going to bounce, fellas. I'm going to go out and trim some trees and stuff like that. So peace out, everyone. Take care.
Okay, Bob.
Later, Bob.
Take care. Stay safe.
Yeah. I just found something else that as far as the purple paint thing in North Carolina, spraying purple on a tree or stuff doesn't mean no trespassing. It means hunting and fishing only.
Yeah, that's another.
You got to research your area.
There's been various incidents in the past where people have tagged people's houses as well with various sort of inconspicuous signs, whether it be a hobo type sign using a spray can or a bit of chalk or a cross on the outside wall or something like that to give an indicator of a roaming sort of crime wave or criminal gang that all these places that have been marked are vulnerable. And they've got various little codes. So that's another thing to be aware of. Any unusual sign on the pavement or outside on the walls or outside on the fences could be a key indicator that something's amiss. Why has it been put there should be the question in everyone's minds. So going back to buying time, which I think is a critical thing that we all want to achieve. You want to buy as much time as possible to implement your sort of immediate action plan. Is if you're going to use a safe room, for instance, have it with at least have stuff in the safe room that could help you once you're in there, like a spare phone in the room that's charged, because you might not have the opportunity to grab whatever you need to grab to get into that safe room. So a spare phone, for instance, in the safe room will be a good one. And within your own property as well, if firearms are going to be involved, at least know which walls, if any, are going to be bullet resistant as well. Yeah. You don't want to start hiding behind the wall, which is just made of cardboard or stuff. And likewise, if anyone's discharging a firearm, they should know where the rest of their family members are, because the last thing you want to do is shoot through a wall and hit one of your kids that's hiding in a place that you weren't supposed to hide.
This is one of the reasons why I like one of these days, like I said, it's probably gonna be in the near future. I gotta get some video editing software put together, get around to shooting some video, but I would actually like to test out the ballistic resistance of common building materials. And I'm sure you can probably find some videos out there of common building materials, where the people are testing out the ballistic resistance, with different common calibers of firearms. So this is one of the reasons why I'm a proponent. If you're going to be using a firearm for home defense, self-defense, like I'm also not just concerned about people inside the house, but I'm also concerned of anybody who might be on the outside of the house, innocent bystanders, somebody across.
You still with
a lot
us?
more kinetic energy in what they you know, you see the movies
You
where
backed out
where
for a sec there, Dios. You went
sorry,
garbled.
I was saying there are bullets have a lot more kinetic energy than what are portrayed in the movies or video games. You'll see movies where like a drive-by shooting is taking place from street side. I'm not kidding you. A 9mm bullet has enough kinetic energy to go through a standard wall of a house, like timber frame construction wall of a house. I'm not talking about house that has like brick or masonry construction or some sort of brick facade. I'm just talking about, standard timber frame house with, like timber or, wood sheathing on the outside with wood siding or something like that. That 9mm bullet has the capability of traveling through all those walls, all the interior walls, and out the exterior wall through your backyard on the other side, and still have enough power to potentially kill somebody standing on the opposite side of your house. So that's what I mean. That's the one thing that does concern me about using firearms is like you could accidentally over penetrate a wall and not necessarily kill somebody inside your house, but kill somebody else you didn't even know was outside. Somebody who's out on a midnight stroll walking their dog or something like that.
Or even the house, or even another house.
Yes, another house next door to you.
I had a friend who died from that very act. Some guy negligently discharged his 9mm high-power pistol. It went through 2 walls and hit the guy in the back while he was asleep. And no one knew until the next morning when they were due to wake this guy up. And they just found him dead, basically. And yeah, like you say, it had gone through 2 walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was as kids, we were screwing around, and we made a little 12-inch piece of muzzle loader pipe and using match heads and stuff, and we had it mounted on a board, and we had a dirt backstop, but we were putting sheets of sheetrock from the construction going on next door that they're throwing away, and we go over and raid the trash bin, and we line up there using a 45 caliber ball bearing and 5 packs of matches. We were able to put that through 15 sheets of sheetrock.
Mm-hmm.
When we hit that, we kept adding more sheetrock. When we got through 15 sheets of sheetrock, we got smart. It's like, guys, this is more powerful than we thought. We need to quit screwing around with this. And so we kind of disassembled it and everything else. But 15 sheets of half-inch sheetrock. All right, that's 7.5 inches of sheetrock.
Mm-hmm.
It was going through and embedding in the dirt. We don't know how many more we could have put on there, and it would still gone through. It's like, okay, that's enough. We're going to stop screwing with this. Of course, that's back when we were all minors and we're like, stupid kids.
It would probably go through a couple of more sheets.
Oh yeah, because it was going into the dirt, and I figured it probably gone through another 3 or 4 inches of sheetrock.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I want to add quickly before hopping off as well on my side that when it comes to these type of situations, it's obviously important to realize that for home invasions in the regular day, that the best way to avoid it is by making sure that your deterrents are as much as they possibly can be. So small dogs, and then having small dogs are usually very alert as opposed to your bigger breeds. Don't get me wrong, you get bigger breeds that are alert as well, but your small yappy type dogs are actually really good. So you have maybe 1 or 2 of the larger dogs as well. Don't exit your property, because a lot of the time burglars will actually try and lure you outside of your house so that they've got the upper hand on you. I mentioned that earlier briefly. And also making sure that you do, like I said it in the chat, making sure that you lock every single time that you lock up all your doors. Have double padlocks where you need to. Make sure that if you've got sliding doors, that you lock them correctly from the top, not just the latch of the sliding door, because it's so easy to get through that as well. Just do things that are strategic, but obviously in situations like in SHTF type scenarios, just absolutely avoid and hide. Go, as much as you possibly can. to situations, because essentially what you're doing is you're just basically being a tin of sardines. If you're like in an SHTF situation, if you're going to believe that you can put enough deterrence and protection, because people will eventually get through. So rather just go to a much safer area where you don't have to deal with the problem, which is people in those SHTF type situations. Anyway, have a lovely evening all, and I'm just going to bounce for a bit. I might be back a bit later, but I don't know. I'll chat to you all soon. Bye-bye.
All right.
See you later.
See you later, Guardian. One of the things we haven't addressed here, and I think we kind of brushed on it a little bit in the beginning. We've been talking mainly about people that have their own home, and everything. What about apartment dwellers?
Well, again,
I live in an apartment.
Yeah. Just going back real quick, I'm just going to touch real quick on that whole firearms issue. The other thing too is, like I said, if you're trying to use a firearm in home defense situation, you live in an apartment. Again, now you got your neighbors are also in danger too. But all right, sorry, I'm done. I'm killing that subject right there. But that was the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick about the whole firearms issue.
Yeah. I mean, all right. So Jordan lives in an apartment. Kaylin Strain lives in an apartment. I can't remember some of the others that live in apartments and stuff. Yeah, it's like you have another set of circumstances there. Depending on what floor you're on. If you're down on the ground floor, then most of them have they have a sliding glass door going out onto their little balcony or enclosed area. Second apartment has a little balcony. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm in an apartment. I'm on the second or I'm on the third floor. I can leave my balcony door unlocked, or I can just open it up and just leave the screen door closed during the summertime. I know a lot of guys that can climb really well up to that. They see, oh, the slider door is open and no lights on. And it's not that it's just early evening, nobody's home. I'm going to climb up there and get into that apartment. Hey, Pennsylvania preparedness. And that's going to be one of the things that apartment people forget. If they have a balcony, they need to be able to secure that sliding glass door as well.
A strip of wood cut to the appropriate size behind your sliding glass door. You can even have two different strips cut. Have one cut so that way you can have your door cracked so you can allow some airflow in.
Yeah.
Or you can have one cut so that way you just wedges behind, because even with those sliding glass door, the latches, those locks, they're not very secure. You can actually pop those locks.
Yeah.
If you're crafty enough, if you're one of those criminals where you don't want to, go the route of breaking out the glass, you're just going to try to covertly, just pop the lock. Just put a strip of wood back there, cut a strip of wood the appropriate size so that way they can't slide that door.
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, the apartment block, because on the one hand, you've got a large number of people that can all look out for each other and they could all bolster each other's security up. But on the other hand, you can't trust everybody, and you're vulnerable to the start off at the perimeter area, the key entry and exit point to the apartment or the block of flats or whatever you want to call it. Many people have got access to that. You can't trust the integrity of all those people letting them in. Once they're in, they're in. Once they're on your floor, if it's a quiet period of the day and no one else is around on your floor, then all you got to do is wear some sort of work jacket. No one will give you might be the odd person who challenges them, but not everybody challenges people these days.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Who authorized you and all this sort of stuff. These days, depending on who you talk to, you'll get either verbal abuse at best, or you'll get threatened to be stabbed at worst, Yeah. So, double-edged sword.
One thing, too, is the problem with apartments is they're not going to let you install, like some of those things I showed at the beginning, the door block thing you put at the bottom or the bars and stuff. They're not going to let you do that because then it's one of those things that have, I've seen kids run into the electric fences out here at night a lot.
Hey,
But,
Bush Crunch family, good to see you.
Hey.
but so the apartment, being in an apartment presents its own problems and limits of what you can do. It's like the door jamb you can put up there. That's about one of the few things you can do in an apartment. But like the one that Bob had, when it has the button on, he had to reinforce it because those buttons, if it has a button to adjust the on it, those are yeah.
I just wanted to
You
say
want the ones
something
that
real
screw in and out, has the lock nut to keep it at the proper length to do it. But even then, you got problems. Something else that just popped up here, and that I was thinking about here. I'm going to share it right now, so it should be up there for Jordan to share. The sliding glass doors and stuff, whether it's in an apartment or a house, is a real weak spot because these spring center punches, you just go up there and you just go pop, and the whole thing turns. We used to call it dusting a window. It just turns to little small fragments and goes, and it's the door or window's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And into this day and age, unfortunately, you have so many people that are like, I only care about myself. I don't want to hear what's going on around. I'm not going to say anything. And you hear a window break and people don't call the police. They don't do anything. And so some of the criminals are getting, they just go up and they go, pop it. It's open, and they all rush, and you get several guys that rush in there. And that is a true home invasion without kicking in the front door. If you got a sliding glass door, and sometimes the windows, they'll just come in, walk up with a moving blanket, pop the window. The window all goes. They throw the moving blanket over any shards in the bottom half, and they all start piling in. That's another problem, especially for a ground floor apartment dwellers, because now they get all these laws with these you got to have a window that goes all the way down to within 2 feet of the floor, and it's got to be tall so you can escape in case of an emergency. Well, it also means that the burglars can come right in. They just pop that and just come right on in.
And if they got that window well, they can hide in there too. But this was one of the reasons why, like my parents' old house, they put those window well covers, security covers, so that way, people couldn't jump in and try to break through the basement windows and get in the house covertly in broad daylight. And those could only be removed from the inside, if in case during a fire, you couldn't remove them from the outside. And they also put up vertical bars over the sliding glass patio door. Now, granted, somebody wants to break the sliding glass patio door, they're going to do it, but they're going to have to get through the bars to get inside the house.
Yeah.
Hey there, Bushcraft family. You okay? You were going to say something just now?
Yeah, I'm just going to say something real quick and jump out because I'm lazy. I don't like typing a bunch of stuff. One thing is, most of the time, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but most of the time they'll break in, they'll come to you straight to your door and knock on it and wait for you to open it, and then they'll rush in.
Yeah.
One of the easiest is a screen door. Keep it locked.
Yep.
Because if you go to the door and they already opened the screen door for you, that's a flag right there.
Yeah.
If you keep your screen door locked, they can't do that, and they can't rush in. They can't say, "Oh, I smell gas," or whatever the case may be to try to get in there. Because a lot of times people don't. They have all these locks and things on their front door, and they let people in because you be neighborly and you open the door and say, "Hello, what do you want?" And then that's when they come in.
Yeah, so they're trying to lure you outside or to get you to open the door. You've done the job for them.
Yeah, just remember that simple thing is just a screen door to lock it.
Yeah.
It's not that it's going to keep people out. It's that the screen door is there for, a deterrent to, weed somebody out if it's a good
Can
person
they,
or a bad person.
are they normally lockable, those screen doors?
Yeah, some of them can be. Like that one in particular, that white one with the ornate ironwork right there. My parents actually installed a door similar to that on their front door as well. That had vertical bars, but also had some like ornate, like ironwork with like acorns and like wreaths and stuff like that. But yes, they are lockable from the inside, and there are some, they're like, even like the cheap, like flimsy freaking screen doors, they've got a little simple lock that you can just flick. As long as you have, like, don't get me wrong, somebody can still overpower that and bust that, but what he's saying is like they can't just pull that door open, without, basically,
How about the fly screen type version?
Those aren't going to slow anybody down but a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Even if it's locked.
But a couple of seconds
as in Bushcraft Family there was saying the key indicator is they'll open it for you first.
Yeah.
On this one here, I put that on my parents' home and my grandparents' home. I put it on my home in California. Because there in California, it gets hot, and rather than running AC, we just open up the inside front door, lock that with the deadbolt, and the doorknob is locked. And then we do this. We have the same thing on the back door, and so the doors are secured with those nice heavy steel screen doors. Keeps the bugs out, and it keeps anybody else out too.
Yeah. And that's what my parents have. And actually theirs in particular, they got removable panes of glass that are on the inside portion, the iron bars on the outside and the panes of glass on the inside. And they can remove the upper pane of glass and put it in a screen. So that way they can do the same thing, what you were describing. Because in Colorado, at least the part that I used to live in, it was dry enough where you could get away with doing that during the summertime. A lot of houses don't have air conditioners, so that's what a lot of people would do. Just open up some windows, put in a couple window fans or whatever to, do a little bit of a cross breeze.
And going back to the old spy holes indoors as well. You look through the spy hole to see who's there. First sort of eyes
I
on.
have that in my apartment door.
Yeah, they're very
spy hole.
Simple measures, and they work.
Yep, I got one.
Yeah, and my door to my apartment is burglar proof and fireproof.
Right.
Just so on these spy holes. Don't go up and stick your eye next to it. Stand back away because ice picks go through those little pieces of glass very easily.
Yeah.
I like the putting the little itty bitty closed circuit TV camera above the door, and then next to the door got the little 12-inch monitor there, and you can see that way you don't have to do this. You just somebody's out there. You got several people out there.
Yeah, or use a Ring doorbell type system.
That too. Yeah. But the thing with the Ring doorbell, I've there's videos of people where they put their hand over it.
Yeah,
they can tell because it says Ring on it, and they go, "I don't want them seeing me." If they're in there,
they don't even have to say Ring on it if they see that little fisheye camera.
Yeah, and so they just block it or whatever. Or there's been reports where back in California where people take painter's tape and they'll go along and they'll ring the bell. Someone, is this so-and-so's house? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And as they leave, they put a piece of tape over it. So when the person goes, they go, why can't I see out my thing? And then they go and open up the door, and there's people there waiting for them to open up the door. They haven't rung the doorbell. They're just waiting for them to open up the door, and they charge in on them.
That right there, that's pretty creative.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys, because people get lazy when they have, like these ring with their phones. It's like, oh, I got all these apps on my phone. I'll just see what's going on. Oh, why can't I see? Let me open the front door and see what's wrong.
So does a criminal have all those apps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like my phone. My phone doesn't have any apps on it at all. It's a phone. My front door has motion sensor that pops on my TV. Windy days, it sucks.
I went round to,
no.
it must have been last year. I went round to a neighbour's house 4 or 5 doors away, and he was getting his a burglar alarm fitted in the same make and model as the one we've got. And as I knocked on the door, no one came to the door. But what he did, he opened the upstairs window and sort of half opened it and asked, what do you want, sort of thing, which is another method. Why go to the front door? You can quite easily use another window upstairs and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to use that sort of confrontational sort of weakness, if you like. So
that's a good point.
One thing that people can do, and in the military we used to do this, operations and stuff, and it's a basic thing people can do, is dominate the ground around your property, around your street, maintain an active presence. You don't necessarily have to lock yourself inside your house all the time. If you're out and about and all your neighbors are out and about in the garden or pottering around outside or cleaning the windows or whatever, then, and talking to the neighbors over the fence, for instance, then you number one, you got more eyes on the ground for people to talk to each other and identify problems or unusual people out the ordinary in the street. And secondly, you get to talk to your neighbors and establish some sort of little intelligence program as well. So keep an active presence on the ground and dominate the ground. There's nothing worse than, there's nothing easier, if you like, for a burglar going recce in places. You think, there's, everyone doesn't bother even looking outside the windows or curtain twitching. They're all locked away on the computers and stuff.
That kind of goes back to the military training, the force continuum. You've got presence, you've got verbal commands, you've got soft controls, hard controls, and then
and that's one of the one of the principles of fighting patrols.
Less than lethal and then deadly force.
Well, you got standing patrols, fighting patrols, recce patrols, and they're all trying to dominate the ground and gather information and this sort of stuff. And it works, obviously. So people should adopt this sort of thing. Maintain an active presence. Get yourself out there. Get in touch with the real world. It's good for the mind and body and soul, and it gets you, again, I keep going back to this sort of phrase, building up a pattern of life of what's going on in your neighborhood and things that are out of the ordinary that go on. Look and see what the neighbors are doing. Are you actually the weakest house on the street that's left? Everyone else has got X, Y, and Z. Why haven't you? That could indicate to you that you're the next weakest target on the block, and you could be number one in the frame for people recceing it and so on.
Another thing, setting their garden seasoning coming up and whatnot. A lot of people will be in their house and go outside and work in their garden and leave their house unlocked.
Yeah, that's the flip side of it. Yeah,
they'll be robbed and won't even know it.
Yeah, it's like knowing what to do or building up some sort of plans of what to do if you're at work in the garden having a barbecue, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like Dior said there, leaving people without air conditioners tend to leave windows open. Stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Well, this is, like I said, and then I think Gil brought it up too. Like the people carrying in groceries and just leaving their garage doors open. Oh, the kids are going to be back from school here in a few minutes. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess a lot of this stuff I never really gave it second thought because even my parents kind of instilled some of this, maybe not to the same degree as the way we're talking about it now. But some of the basic stuff, lock the doors, lock the door when you're leaving the house, when you're going to school, or, we, as a kid growing up, I always had the expectation, that the doors are going to be locked when they came came back home from school, and that
Yeah,
I was
right.
gonna have to unlock. So, like I said, I always had to carry a house key, or I had to know the combo to push into the electronic lock to get in through the house. Like
Tell you a story now. When we were kids, we used to live in this for a couple of years. We lived in this 3-story apartment block, and my parents were out, and me and my brother were out. I came back. Was it me or my mum and dad? At 102, and there was a note on the front door that my brother had left, and it said, "The keys are in the shed." So the kids have got to be educated as well, the importance of where to leave spare keys, if anything, and who to leave the spare keys to. But yeah, I look back at it, I'll just cringe. The keys are in the shed, sort of thing.
Well, what's weird with me is that, all right, growing up, the only time we locked the door at the house up was when everybody was gone or at night. And because, it was a whole totally different thing back then. I mean, it used to be until everybody went to bed, the house was unlocked, because we were outside playing till well after dark with our friends and our neighbors and stuff. We'd be going from house to house, hey, it's about, go over to Bobby's house. Hey, let's go over to Jimmy's house. And we just, flock of kids going to different houses, and it's just, there was, the locking the car. So long as you took the key, most people didn't even lock their cars. Car theft was practically zero unless somebody left the key in there, and it was some stupid high school kids going out for a joyride. They drive it around for a while and they leave it. That's the way crime was when I was a little kid. We're talking back in the 60s. And it's like, nowadays it's like Southern Fried Prepper says, heck, you need to watch your back when getting gas.
You should always keep your back to the vehicle.
I mean, these days, a car is the price of vehicles nowadays is so high.
Yeah.
The single most valuable item outside of your house, probably. And it all revolves around the single location of the key.
Yeah.
The vulnerability points.
Hey, Louis. Good to
Louis.
see you.
Hey.
Hey,
yeah,
my fellow man.
The price of some of these new pickups and stuff costs more than the house I bought across the street here for my daughter to be in when I bought it in 2016.
Yeah.
Seriously, it costs more than that house, and that's on 5 acres.
Yeah, it's ridiculous now that even a base model 1-ton pickup truck with a crew cab's going to run you over $100,000 now.
Yeah. And if you get the fancy one with the multi-fuel tanks in it and the heated seats and the heated mirrors and the heated steering wheel,
all leather interior,
all the other crap in it, it's gonna cost almost $150,000 now.
Yep. And then try and get that back. Impossible. You just get in a chop shop or in UK, for instance, within 6 hours, it will be in the continent, gone. You'll never see it again.
Yeah.
In an ISO container on its way to the Middle East is a favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, didn't you say they also shipped them over to the main portion of Europe, mainland Europe?
Yeah, they'll either be dismantled straight away and the parts sold and shipped to Romania, for instance. It's a key one. Or put in an ISO container and sent to the Middle East. That's another favorite. And they're after the high value cars like Audi, BMW, Land Rover, all this sort of thing. Or you'll get the different crime rates differ in various locations. Obviously, you'll get the boy racers who are after the small car that they can just steal, rag around for a couple of hours, and then set fire to it. But that sort of criminal isn't likely to come 4 or 5 strong in hands, breaking your front door in, sledgehammering their way in to get the keys. It's more likely the criminal that's going to ship it abroad that's going to smash its way in. And when people think of intruders, they want to start thinking of groups of 4 or 5 people these days, not this lone single man. Yeah. I mean, you'll get the lone single scrote that will come at night, just after drug money or something like that. Criminal, single career criminal, but the organized lot will come machetes, sledgehammers, the old shotgun, and they'll come in 4 or 5s. I mean, you can't confront these people. This is why I say you either super bolster your defenses, or in terms of perimeter defenses, or buy yourself enough time where you can do something, get away, or secure yourself, basically.
You talk about leaving your doors unlocked. My parents, back in the early 80s, left me with a baby monitor in the car with the car running, because that's the only way they'd get me to go to sleep.
Right. Yeah, that just wouldn't happen these days, would it? Yeah.
Yeah, construction equipment and farm tractor theft is, stuff gets stolen, and sometimes it gets shipped over, but sometimes it gets stolen in one state, moved 2 states over, and sold like on Craigslist or whatever. Oh yeah, I'm having problems. I need to sell my tractor. Somebody will buy it. That's and then they go to try to get repair on it. It's like, this is stolen. It's like, and then it's been 6 months or so since they bought it, and
or sold at like Richie's auction. I think that's what they call it, Richie's.
Yeah, Richie's is one of the big ones. Yeah, but now Richie's is wanting to see documentation before they'll sell anything.
I mean, in some cases, it's not just about. I mean, a lot of people focus on their houses and stuff like this when we talk about cars, but when times get a bit harder for people and they've got their own gardens and allotments and they start to grow in things, they might have some livestock. Livestock theft could be a big one. That's a key crime in rural areas here.
Cattle rustling all back, happening all over again.
People stealing sheep.
Actually, in some areas of Montana and I believe Idaho, like northern Idaho, like actually cattle rustling still is a thing. Like there's still areas where livestock rustling still happens.
Yeah, and even people stealing your fruit and veg that you've starting to grow because there's been a shortage or whatever it is. How do you protect that sort of thing? People have got to look at that as well. I mean, and also, personal self-defense. It's not just about in your home and that. It's whilst you're out and about, your personal airspace, as Guardian said earlier. Your personal situational awareness. People have got to be on top of. Come up with simple plans, simple contingencies. If something happens, we'll meet here or there. And don't get people have got to think of the fact that don't get the mindset of being funneled into a single confrontation with one person. It could be 2 or 3 other people that are going to steal you, and that's a whole another sort of route to go down. It's another 2-hour conversation, that is, when you're talking about personal robberies in the street, pickpockets and muggings and that sort of thing.
Carjackings,
yeah. Make sure you can see the tires and tarmac of the car in front. Keep your doors locked, windows locked. Don't get out your vehicle in any sort of confrontation because your vehicle is the armor, your own personal armor. Drive through, get away. Always look for a sort of a get out route when you're stopped at traffic lights or parked up, or you're in a go slow traffic jam and this sort of stuff. So
your vehicle can become a 5,000-pound weapon if needs be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Real quick, just on the construction equipment side, not that I don't think anybody here is going to be buying construction equipment, but Caterpillar they've got a universal key. So if anybody happens to have a universal cat key, well, you can pretty much, if you know how to operate heavy equipment, you can pretty much steal any piece of Caterpillar equipment.
Same thing with John Deere, Case, all construction equipment, each Volvo, all of them have basically one or two keys, and that it's universal. And then, but both Caterpillar and John Deere are going for battery lockout keys as well. But wait a minute, those are standard too. And so you got your standard key for a Caterpillar. You have your standard key for to open up the cabinets, and sometimes it's the same key as the ignition key to open up the cabinets. But then the battery key is the 2-prong key. You stick it in, and it's like, boom, stuff's gone.
Yeah, I will probably bring
right
this
back
up. Some of the John Deere equipment, at least the John Deere construction equipment, they've actually got like an electronic security system where you have to punch in a PIN number to unlock the equipment, start it up again. I only know this because some of the equipment that I work with at my current job, that's the way it's set up.
Yeah, up here, a lot of generators and power tools and whatever they keep in those bins that you dump on the containers that you dump on the ground off the trailers. They keep their tools in there. A lot of that,
like a job box.
Yeah, like the tractor trailer containers, and they'll keep generators in there, tampers, stuff like that will go missing up here.
All right. Didn't have the keys I thought I had, but just an example here. So here's a key that fits several different brands of tractors. There's another master battery key. This one here opens up several tractors. I thought I had my main key ring in here. This opens up. This does. Begins with a K. Komatsu tractors.
Yeah, I was about to say Komatsu.
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll also unlock Dresser, because Komatsu brought out Dresser back in the 90s.
Yeah. So there's another one that opens up, does certain things. Yeah, there's a lot of standard keys around. I don't have my big ring. I had my big ring here. I would have all the ones for John Deere, Caterpillar, Case, Massey Ferguson, Volvo, the Komatsus, the Kubotas. I got all of those because for several years there, I ran a fuel truck for a construction company. I need to get into all the pieces of equipment, the fuel, the grease, and everything else. And so, I was always about getting them. I had like 3 sets in case I lost one out on the job. If the thing came off here, I had a spare one as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of those are just so simply. I mean, it's like when I for my tractor out here, I put special locks, battery locks that have different keys on it that most people don't expect, that aren't standard for that tractor.
Yeah, I'm just going to, just before I shoot off, Prepper for the Ages has put a comment. Any advice on protecting chickens? I suppose chickens will be
livestock guard dog.
Yeah, I'll put the comment down there.
I've got one of those.
Alpacas or donkeys, they make good protectors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, donkeys! Oh,
yeah, they're nasty.
They can kick with their rear legs. If you're standing in front of them, they can kick you with the rear leg in front. The donkeys are bad.
People don't think donkeys are violent. Have a look at videos on YouTube, for instance, of donkeys killing wolves and stuff like that. They rag them around severely. They can get quite vicious, these donkeys. But yeah. Apart from that, I mean, I suppose the only thing you can do, chickens being a key sort of opportunity for people, especially with the eggs, is just to make sure you got loads of chicken wire and stuff, and make their coop and area a nice little tight, secure arena, because people will get in there and try and nick the eggs and stuff.
But, my daughter's a chicken coop across the street, is one of those heavy duty dog panel ones where you got it's 10-foot panel that's 8 foot tall, and they're all put together for their chicken coop, because the animals around, the other animals around here, were getting through the chicken wire and stuff. And so we put up one of those for it, and it keeps all the animals out, but they haven't put a lock on it because, for the gate door on it, because my son-in-law is lazy, but they have dogs and stuff, so they they have the Australian Shepherd that barks its head off anybody comes in the yard. So, but that the thing is, it's where most people have chickens. What they got to worry about are animals, not people currently.
Yeah.
Of course, out here, it's like we got chickens. The neighbors have chickens. Those neighbors have chickens across the street. They got chickens and goats. It's just about everybody around here has chickens. So we're not too worried about people stealing chickens, because just about everybody has chickens.
You might advise to your son-in-law, if he already doesn't have a means of locking that up, at least get something so he can put it on when time comes.
Yeah. And also, that's the thing too, is you got to worry about where you are at. If you're in across the street from my wife's house in California, they have chickens and goats and pigs, but they're one of the last agricultural areas. They're surrounded by subdivisions and stuff, and if things get bad there, they could become a target really easy.
The dog thing I agree with, because I got a Great Pyrenees dog, and they're known as a livestock guardian dog, and I can't speak enough about them. There are other dogs that outsize the Great Pyrenees, but like the last place I lived at, I didn't have any gardens or stuff like that, but I did have firewood to sell for the homes. And I used to bring livestock home, slaughtered livestock home, and they're so protective. Like the dog knew that whatever I brought home was for him. Coyotes would come scratching at the door, and I'd get him riled up, and he'd take out coyotes. Mind you, he's a 120-pound dog at the time, right?
Yeah.
Here, somebody tried coming in the backyard, and the dog I got now gave him a little love bite just for trying to go opening up the gate. Same type of dog.
Yeah, that's
so they are protected of the property.
Same type of dog that Dave Paulides has got, isn't it? That sort of one. Anyway, I've got to shoot off for now, Shadow.
Yeah.
And Gil.
Yeah, as usual.
So I'll catch you in a while, and
see you later, TV.
Good chat. I'll see you all later. See you later, Gil, Dios, and Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, see you later.
Take care, PV.
I was going to say the other thing a person could potentially look at setting up, and like I said, it's probably be good for both the two-legged critters and the four-legged critters. Might consider setting up some of the trip lines, because you can buy the trip lines that take the 12 gauge blanks, 12 gauge shotgun shell blanks. Actually, they got blanks that are specific, that are made for the Orion 12 gauge aerial launcher, the flare gun. But you can buy those blanks, and you buy the trip line kits, and you set those up in such a way to where either a person could set them off, or even a unwanted visitor, an unwanted critter, little four-legged critter, whether it be a fox or coyote, set it off. And actually, those would probably scare off the predatory wildlife once they hear that boom, because there is a little bit of a muzzle flash with those.
Yeah, I've heard coyotes just live there howling, and the moment you pop off a couple of 12 gauge rounds, they just shut up. So they know what the 12 gauge is all about.
Yeah,
even at that.
I'm talking mostly about those blanks. I'm not really so much. I'm not so much trying to be a pacifist about this, because I'm far from being a pacifist. because I mean, believe me, I would love to shoot me a couple coyotes, but I guess I'm just thinking, you know, I don't want to unintentionally kill or injure somebody or injure an animal that wasn't meant to get injured, you know. So that's why I suggest those blanks, because you can actually set them up.
They also have the ones instead of the bang boom banks, they're like a whistler one. So I'm not sure exactly how it works. I've heard them. Someone else was doing a little video on it. So you hit the tripwire, it goes, it makes a really loud screaming noise for a second.
Yeah. Like I said, I found the blanks on Amazon. I actually bought a few of them. Let me see if I can pull up a link real quick, because I know I bought some. Let's see. Bought them a few months ago. Let's see. No.
I'm not sure if it always does that. I know some of them does it, some of them don't. I just had an ad pop up here, and it came back to where it was supposed to be at. So it's weird. I've had it though on some of them where I've been watching someone else's, and it does that. It just drops back to the beginning. That's YouTube.
I heard about those tripwire with blanks.
Yeah. They also have the ones that are the electronic ones that make loud noises as well. They also have the ones that have that trip a strobe, and the strobe goes off for like 30 seconds. You know, really, really super bright. So it's disorienting to anybody around.
That is a good idea, because those tripwires with blanks is probably illegal here. So this alarm system with a strobe would be better option.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find that here for you.
Yeah, I can't find the blanks right now. They're not showing up. Maybe they stopped selling them on Amazon. But I bought some a few months ago. They are a little expensive though. But they have also got these kits where you can actually put a regular live 12 gauge shotgun shell in there. I don't think those would be real effective, because 12 gauge shotgun shell needs to be in a chamber in order to actually be set off.
All right. Hang on. I just found the one on Amazon. I went looking at it for a different way when I was looking at the other one here. And then there's another one here on Amazon. Let me pull that one up. And let's see here. So I can go present, share. Okay, there you go. So here's the one on. This is 12 gauge tripwire.
Yeah, that's the tripwire part. I was trying to find the actual blanks, and I can't find the blanks.
Let's see if they have it down below here.
They're supposed to be yellow colored shells, but of course, I guess you could probably use like an actual aerial flare. You might want to make sure that's pointed up, so that way you're not gonna catch anything on fire.
Yeah, they got. Let's look at the other one here. Here's another one here. Same thing. Oh, there's the. So I guess you put a primer in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just put a 12 gauge primer in there, but let's see what else, if it shows anything else that comes with. There you go. There's the. It takes a 22 blank that fits into this one here.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the 22 blank going off.
Yeah, like I said, there's a blank that you can buy for the 12 gauge Orion flare gun. That's actually, it's meant for scaring off predatory wildlife, but you can slide those into that little setup and have it attached to like a tree or a stake or whatever, little trip line.
So depending on the size here, on that where that blue piece is at there, that slides in that probably has the 22 blank in it for this one. If it's made right, you could probably just slide a 12 gauge shotgun shell in there, and pull the open the end of the shotgun shell, pull out all the pellets, make sure it has the wadding still in it to keep the powder in there, and that would work. But
I don't know how well that would work, and the only reason why I say that is because you need the back pressure on that shell. So I have inadvertently set shotgun shells off without them being in a chamber, and there's a little bit of a bang, but not much of one. They're gonna have a lot of unburnt powder.
Yeah,
you really need like a pipe around it to act as a 3/4 inch pipe to act as a chamber, and you need something in there packed in there to give it the back pressure so it'll actually go off with a boom, because the only bang you're really going to hear is just the 12 gauge primer by itself. Now, don't get me wrong, the 12 gauge primer is really, really noisy on its own. In fact, you wouldn't need the powder at that point. You're just setting off the primer.
Yeah. I'm not saying who did this years ago, back when I was a miner, but a friend of mine, I'm not saying names, used to take 12 gauge shotgun shells, wrap some 12 gauge wire up and down the shell, put a ball bearing on it, take some straw pieces from a broom, electrical tape on that, and they used to go out and throw those. There you go, boom, and then a couple minutes later, you'd have the pellets coming down. Strobe, STROBE. It's not showing. Amazon doesn't have the strobe, the tripwire strobe here. They just got all those other different ones. Wait a minute, is this strobe? No, that's it. It's here's one that's a and let me share this again. Share. This one here for $35. Let me go into it. So it has a strobe in it, and it has a sound too. So makes noise, and it has a little strobe in it as well. So
it's a good price for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Be Charming. I'm just answering Be Charming's questions. We're mostly talking about like passive security measures. I'm not sure when or where a blow dart would come in, but like I said, we're mostly talking about passive security measures. Trip lines, stuff that motion sensors, stuff that can protect your livestock.
Yeah. And something that's not going to get you in trouble, because the blow guns and stuff in California are felonies.
Yeah, usually farmers up here in Canada, they got dogs or 22s or 12 gauges, and I don't want to say they're allowed to, but lack of better terms, they were godfathered into the gun, having the guns, only to protect their crops and their livestock.
Yeah. Yes, and that's one of the things was, like we said in the beginning, anything we're talking about here, you need to check with your own local laws, because whether you're in, Sweden, Canada, Great Britain, or the United States, every laws are going to be different in each location, especially in the United States. You got 50 states, you're probably going to have 75 different laws.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is here. Everybody wants to pass their own law to be different than everybody else. So, you got to check things around and see what is legal in your state. Prepper for the Ages says his Amazon says it's 29. Yeah, you could check out and see different ones and different like buying stuff on Amazon. Look around because you may see one, oh, that's a good price, but then like he found one that's $5 cheaper. And then you look around, you may find one that's $100 more. It's like, what the heck?
I've seen once, living at the other place I live, and it's only 20 minutes away. A bunch of horses with people on top, and dogs, and they'd run up the side roads and let the dogs run loose. And the dogs would run in so far on the properties, and they'd chase off coyotes, or the dogs would kill them if they were that much of a threat in a particular area of if they were, say, like between two side roads and two major roads, like in a certain area, and you knew that there was a coyote home.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at Idaho Garden Girl just sent me an email with a question about, is there any type of paint that would show, and she has some pictures in here, so I'm not going to share those, but any type of paint that would show up on a Ring camera and not be visible during daylight. The only type of paint that I know of that shows up at night, it's not visible. You can get the it's kind of a translucent, slightly yellowish. You're not really not going to notice it, but it absorbs light and then it glows. That's the only type of paint that I know of that the cameras would pick up. There might be some other paint. I have to look into it. If you had infrared on the camera, that might pick up on infrared. If you have a camera that has ultraviolet on it, there are plenty of little paints that don't show up that don't show up until you put an ultraviolet light on them. So. And so, but there aren't that many cameras that have ultraviolet light on them. Now, those are a little bit more expensive and harder to find. Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, I'm looking around for these stinking blanks, and I'm gonna probably have to go on their website, but I'm gonna check out fifthops.com. This is where that's the brand of these blanks, and I got them off Amazon. But I'm actually shocked to find out they're not listed on Amazon no more.
Yeah, so someone may have whined about it, and Amazon feel, okay, we're just going to drop these off here so we don't have problems. Because all it takes is one municipality saying, you can't sell that. That's illegal in our municipality.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense because you can't actually chamber these in a 12 gauge shotgun unless you cut them down. They're actually meant for the Orion flare gun.
So
they can
really
also go on the trip line too.
Yeah. Let me look something up here.
See, I'm finding the trip line kits, but I'm not finding the actual blanks, which is frustrating. Maybe they don't have any in stock.
Yeah, it could be. Could have all sold out. I'm finding short blank. Short blanks with smoke at the perfect shot. And let me share this here. Share screen. All right. So here's what I just Googled it. So here you see the this is on images. So you got the short ones here, and this is at from the perfect shot. And there's some other ones here from perfect shot, 12 gauge blanks. The fuller size ones. And then there was, let me scroll down here. Thought I saw something else here. American Specialty Ammo has them. So, yeah. So
I found I did find something very similar from the exact same website from Fifth Ops. It's just these are more of a bear deterrent one.
Yeah.
But they're identical. They're, for all intents and purposes, they're identical to what I'd already bought off of Amazon. There's a different color.
Yeah, so here's the off the eBay, you got the 22 blanks, and you got the part that slides in there like the shotgun shell.
The adapter.
Yeah. Basically using nail gun blanks.
You can buy those nail gun blanks over at Ace Hardware.
Yeah. So this is an eBay one, but there's other ones here as well. You know, Ram set nail gun adapters and other ones here. So
can you scroll up real quick up to those mini shells?
These mini shells here?
Yeah, right there. So you see all that stuff they got packed on there, you know, like I said, it's not like a standard wad. That's probably a bunch of compressed cardboard discs, but that's part of what I was talking about, what you need to set the to set off a regular shotgun shell, because you can't just cut the top off and pour out all the shot. You need something in there to provide the back pressure, and how they're getting around that is they're putting a stack of cardboard overshot cards in there.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these other ones here, you know, it's actually curled down over the
roll crimp.
Yeah, roll crimped on the wadding or whatever they have in there to do that. This is blanks with smoke. Okay.
Or how much those are going for?
Find out. $49. Looking for the 25 rounds.
Oh, okay. So you get 25. Okay, so that's not terrible. It's not terrible. So it's about $2 a round. Like usually those are really, really expensive. Like $17 for like 5.
Yeah. So this is from the Perfect Shot. And so it's got with smoke 100 grain, with smoke 60 grain. Yeah, 45 for the smokeless is 45. 25 blanks is 49 with smoke. 10 to 20 gauge reducer. So you can get, they got other stuff here, but yeah. So your prices there, $39 for 25, 60 grain smoke, $45 basically for the 100 grain of smoke. But yeah. All right. And those things would definitely probably scare the crap out of people.
That's what I found right there on Fifth Ops website. Like I bought the same thing, only thing is mine are yellow, but I bought them off of Amazon, but they're not showing up on Amazon anymore. But like I said, they're $17, actually almost $18 for a pack of 5. So pretty pricey. But then again, you know, if you're trying to get regular aerial type flares for your Orion flare gun, and mind you, though, the aerial flares will also work in the tripwire system as well. I would just advise you have that pointed in a safe direction, because you're firing a 7-second, you know, flare, which can, you know, cause a massive wildfire if you're not careful. But that was what I was trying to look for. Like I said, those will work in the trip line systems, and they also work in your flare guns.
Yeah. Someone should make a Prepazon, with all discounted prepper stuff from Amazon.
Well, John at the Prepared Mind channel tried doing that specifically through Amazon. He actually had the Prepared Mind.club set up through Amazon, but Amazon kind of screwed him over. So he's got a like I said, I'm not trying to sit there and advertise other people's websites, but Prepared Club, or was it Prepared.club? They've basically got kind of like a listing of different websites and retailers that sell different things, including anything from self-defense, trip lines, trip wire, freeze-dried food, MREs, first aid, bulk purchases and stuff. You might give them a try.
Yeah. Or you can do like I did. Spend time, find a nice community, a like-minded community like I'm at, where the bad guys avoid at all costs. Because everybody carries here, everybody has rifles, everybody has guard dogs, and it's basically a quarter-mile square city. And we are all very prepper-minded and look out for each other.
Yeah.
Let me see here. All right, let's see what we got here. All righty. Oh, let's see, guys. I got about 2 hours before I go live. Oh, I need to get some stuff done. So, if you don't mind, Shadow, I'm going to drop the link for my live stream coming up here in 2 hours.
Feel free to do it. No problem.
I always ask
and
first.
I'm gonna be dipping out in a few minutes myself, but yeah. Unfortunately, I can't do much today, man. It freaking rained and it's been cold, so I can't. I was gonna mow the yard, but can't mow the yard now with the grass being wet.
No, that is not a good idea. It's better to wait.
Ends up clogging up the mower and ends up instead of cutting the grass, it ends up ripping the grass out of the ground.
Yeah.
My
live stream tonight, we're talking about cooking without power, without gas, and the firewood's wet. So we're talking about and there's going to be certain things about it. It's a narrow topic, but it's got a lot of information for that narrow topic tonight. Oh, so yeah, I need to go pick something to eat, and I'm going to slide out of here now. And I got a few more things to do before I go live tonight. So
yeah, no problem.
Thanks for having me up here, and thanks everybody in the side chat for all your comments. I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, really good comments.
Yeah. All right, folks. I'll see you later.
See you later.
Sorry about that. I'm still trying to recover from being sick from last week. I got a cold left over after having the flu.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, I hate getting the flu. Anytime I get the flu, I end up coughing and hacking for like the next 2 or 3 weeks after the flu's over with.
Yeah, the flu is not fun.
All right. Later, Gray Man. Later, Gil. We'll see you. I'll try to catch your live stream tonight. Where the heck is CR? CR isn't here. Normally he likes to join in and.
Yeah, but he had to drop out.
I also didn't see Aid anywhere. Aid O'Neill never showed up, so
No, I haven't seen him either.
Yeah, we're just missing people left, right, and center. Instead, we ended up getting Marshmallow Man and what the heck was
Yeah.
the other? I forget what his name was. It Backwoods Prepper or something like that. So, Marshmallow Man, which province do you live in over there? Yeah, I don't need to know any specific cities or specific region. I was just trying to figure out, which part of Canada you lived in. Must not be at the mic.
Probably.
You know what? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I'm not going to pressure. I was just curious. Something I'm gonna have to look into is cattle traps, because I guess allegedly, in the state of Texas, they're not illegal to use cattle traps. I would
Yeah.
think that they would be, because I would think that would be classified as a form of booby traps, but I guess they're legal to use on private roads to keep people from driving their vehicles onto said private roads. I'm going to look more into that because I'm a little curious about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Marshmallow's gone.
Yeah, Sierra already left.
Yeah, apartment living, it's kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, like we've said, you guys got eyes everywhere, and you got neighbors watching out for one another, but man, things get really bad, then you got neighbors looking at each other's like, who's still got supplies, who's still holding out.
Yeah.
I guess the same could be said if you're living in suburbia, if you're living in a suburban home.
Yeah. I can't say I never heard of a cattle trap either.
It's called cattle trap. It's actually not trap, it's trop. Let me see if I can bring up the correct spelling before I go type it in.
Yeah.
And I think it's one word.
Marshmallow Man has problem with his internet.
That's all right, Marshmallow Man. All right, cattle trap. I've seen different. Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Like that.
Yeah, that caltrops. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. As we call it, foot angles.
Yeah. There's actually different versions of them. The one version that I'd seen, it's a little bit more modern day. It's actually nails welded together, like
and they are bent.
Yeah, some of them are bent, but some of them they've taken like 4 nails and they've welded them in such a way that no matter which way you throw that cattle trap, one point will always be up. But I've seen some they've got like a barb on them. It's like, ooh, kind of nasty.
I agree with that.
Like
those are really nasty, but effective.
Yeah, allegedly, those are legal in the state of Texas, but I'm gonna have to look more into that because something tells me that would be classified as a booby trap.
Probably, yeah. I think that might be classified as a booby trip.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's also called the gal trap, the chevel trap, the gal thrap, the gal trap. Yeah. So Jack Rock, Crow's Foot. Yeah. Not something I'd want to be stepping on. Certainly not something you want to be driving over either.
nope. You will definitely have a flat tire if you drive over one of those.
I'm gonna have to look at the legality of that because I hang on.
If they are well made, they will go straight through your boots.
Okay.
Idaho says caltrops are also the name for goat heads that weed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that, but thanks for the information.
Okay, it looks like new Texas law prohibits the possession, manufacture, transportation, repair, or sale of caltrops.
Okay.
But it exempts tire puncture strips that are designed to puncture tires when driven in a specific direction, such as those at car rental facilities, caltrops used as curios, such as those in museums or on display in Penna's office. Okay, so they're illegal. That's why I kind of figured. I wasn't. Let's see. Hang on. I've got another one. Let's see. Before making these caltrops, make sure it's even legal to have them in your area. For some states like Texas, considered possessing caltrop is a felony, while in other places you'd be liable for any injuries, damages, or property you cause. Your survival gear shouldn't be the thing that can land you in jail. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why yep. So in other words, don't be making them. Don't be making them unless you want to go to jail.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But they are probably legal in the other states. Or at least some of them, not all.
I don't know. I mean, Texas is pretty. When it comes to allowing people to have what would normally be considered contraband in other states, Texas, in regards to like self-defense, home defense, Texas is pretty lenient, pretty liberal as far as that's concerned. When I say liberal, I'm saying unrestrictive. But if Texas says it's not okay, I can guarantee you most of the 49 other states are probably going to say it's absolutely not okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we just call them goat's heads over here, Idaho. Goat's heads, devil's horns, or sand thorns, but goat's heads and devil horns are like the nastier version of the sand thorns. It's insane to know that just owning a piece of twisted up, jagged metal could land you in prison with a felony charge.
Yeah.
Well, I'll remember that. That's good to know. I'm glad I looked this stuff up now because I've always thought about, man, it'd be really cool to make some caltrops. I'm glad I never did.
But they are effective.
Yeah, I guess they were used during the medieval ages as well.
Yeah, they were very popular in the medieval.
Yeah,
and they were popular also in Japan too.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah. I ain't got much else to add to this, man. I'm probably going to have to dip out here pretty soon. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, nobody else has joined in, so I can't bounce off any more ideas unless you got anything else.
No, actually, I don't have anything either. So
we've covered a lot of different topics here. A lot of different subtopics relation to this. This was a good topic, mind you. Good subject. So.
Yeah, it was an idea from PV. So,
any idea what we're going to be discussing next week?
I have no idea yet. I need to check my list. And I have at least probably one. Maybe one or two different topics.
Yeah. Things kind of settled down over there in Sweden as far as like the illegal gun crimes and illegal, people having illegal hand grenades.
Well, actually, a couple of days ago, there were even more shootings and there were even more explosions. So,
okay, so we'd say that's a no.
So that sucks.
Yeah. That's one of the downsides when you take in a whole bunch of foreigners that you haven't vetted. You haven't vetted to see who's actually trustworthy and who's a career criminal. Because, like I said, I know you guys took in a whole bunch of Syrian refugees back in, I think it was 2015, 2016. But then again, we had this war in Ukraine kick off, and a lot of small arms, firearms magically disappear when, in the black market.
What I saw something, or basically read something, that the most of the illegal weapons here in Sweden, they come from the Baltic states.
Yeah, like
and that is
Bulgaria.
that's those are older weapons that are not basically phased out. So
yeah, Bulgaria, maybe Moldova.
we get them here.
I was told Bulgaria, most of its market is pretty much just nothing but an open black market.
Yeah.
In fact, I heard stories of LDS missionaries from America going there to serve their mission, being able to buy full auto M16s is like, you're nuts.
Yeah. Full auto, yeah. There is not many states in U.S. that are allowed to have a full auto.
No, there's
I
not.
don't remember what state it is that you are allowed to have it, but
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, a lot of them. There's a lot of states that don't allow full auto or AOWs. AOW being any other weapon, so anything not used for the purposes of sporting or hunting, it's not protected, which doesn't make any sense because the Second Amendment doesn't differentiate between sporting or hunting. In
or
fact,
hunting.
it doesn't mention anything about that. It only mentions that the right for the people to keep and bear arms is necessary for a free state. And the like rights and the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Yeah, but like Minnesota don't allow. As far as I'm aware, Minnesota don't allow them, with the exception of like specially licensed gun ranges. They don't allow them. California don't allow it. New York don't allow it. Massachusetts don't allow it. Connecticut don't allow it. Rhode Island don't allow them. New Jersey don't allow them. Illinois doesn't allow them.
What about Mississippi?
I would have to check into that, but I'm pretty certain Mississippi probably probably allows it, because it's one of the southern states. So a lot of the southern states they're a little bit more lenient. And granted, you got to have special paperwork, and to have a fully transferable, full auto machine gun of any kind, whether it be a machine pistol or a rifle or belt fed, crew served weapon like a machine, belt fed machine gun, you're looking at least $20,000 to $30,000 for just the paperwork.
Yeah, probably.
Because really, you're not, when you're buying those transferable weapons that are registered pre-1986, that means they were manufactured and registered with the ATF prior to May 19th of 1986, when the Safe Firearms Act was passed. Like I said, you're not paying for the weapon itself, you're paying for the paperwork, the transferable paperwork that goes with the weapon, the title, and then you're paying an additional $200 for the tax stamp. Yeah. How tall are Guardian Prepper's fences around his house? That I could not tell you. Couldn't tell you. You know what? He's probably not going to say. Probably worried about OPSEC. I don't know. Like I said, I've seen what I could surmise from what videos I'd seen. What's going on at the different homesteads over there in South Africa. I've seen what I could surmise were between 8 and 10 foot tall. Concrete block walls and chain link fences with either barbed wire, concertina wire, or some sort of electric fence wiring on the outside. Because some of those farmsteads, they have to be worried about the gangs coming out there and not necessarily trying to just ambush the farm, but sometimes they just go by and do like a drive-by shooting and start shooting up the farmsteads.
Yeah.
And that's why some of them, they will opt to have like either like a concrete cinder block wall or poured block, like a poured concrete solid walls around the immediate house, where the occupants stay, to protect them from gunfire.
Yeah. Which is a good idea.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get on off of here because I ain't running out of stuff to say, and I'm going to probably get in some topics that might get this stream flagged. And I don't want to accidentally do that, man. But I appreciate you having me on, and
you're always welcome, my friend.
Yeah, we've got some loose ends I gotta get tied up on over here. Hopefully, get some stuff straightened out here once and for all. Might be on YouTube full time again. I don't know. Anyhow, I gotta go.
Yeah, okay.
Later,
I'm
guys.
gonna wrap things up soon too.
Iceland is erupting again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I heard something about that a couple of days ago.
You look at all of Iceland, it's volcanically active. In fact, they've got hot springs. They've got actual like natural ovens where they'll bake breads and stuff like that, where it's the ovens themselves are powered by the basically the magma that's trapped in the earth, and it's making like a heat vent. Anyhow, that's all I got. I gotta go. All right,
later. Okay, guys. I think I wrap this stream up now. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. And thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. So, take care, stay safe, stay vigilant, and God bless, my friends. You're very welcome, Prepper for the Ages. You're most welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you guys. You are awesome. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that too. Good night. Stay safe. And God bless.